much. Today, don't become too academic. Let's explain. I will explain. I lay down the case. I will lay down a very good case of how Africa is affected. I can see the numbers are growing, and I'm waiting for more people to come. My sister, two sisters, let me bring you in. You have been very, as we wait for the headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya, to start. I can see, as I wait for the headquarters, I can bring you as a speaker. Kafidid, oh, my user man is here. Another gentleman who wants to speak, follow back as a speaker. You have to say your name. Don't just put there things that we don't know. You have to say your name. I can see my co-host. My co-host, climb up to the co-host position, please. We need you up there. And they have sent you co-host Medium. I've sent you the request. I hope today it will work. I can't see you moving. I don't know whether you are blocked yourself. Miriam Ogutu, move up as a co-host. And please, those who are watching us also those who are watching, Miriam, I've sent you a co-host. I don't know why this thing does not want you to co-host. I've now sent it for the second time. I've cancelled and then sent another one. Let me bring you up as a speaker, maybe, probably. As a co-host, accept Medium, accept it. I've now sent, accept, and then you come join in. I don't see why you are not joining. Miriam Ogutu, my co-host from Nairobi, Kenya. I can see Speaker Wanda on Miriam. I think this thing wants you to become. Why? Why are you stuck on co-host? Gazidi, can you wait a minute? Or you want to say some word? Can you test the waters? Good morning, Kafidi.
Good morning, David. I'm fine.
Yeah,
The one from Ogaden, yes, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother. You want to say something as we wait, or is there something paining you on the other side of Atlantic?
Nothing. It's just I want to breathe you only. Nothing,
Yes,
Alice.
oh,
Good morning.
yes. You want to thank me? I would die fighting for Africa. I would never give up. I would die for a better Africa. No, I would not leave you, my younger generation, suffering. Let me use all the energy that I have right now. You see? Meanwhile, Punchline Africa, can you please open up the other side of Zoom, please? Punchline Africa. I don't know why you are not accepting people. Open up the space. Come on. Medium, I have to bring you back. I have invited you as a co-host, and it looks like let me bring you as Miriam. Miriam, good morning. Now you can speak. I don't know why this thing does not like to invite you as a co-host.
A copy, Sam.
Miriam.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning in Nairobi, Kenya.
Good morning.
I don't know why it doesn't accept you as a co-host.
Yeah, I don't know that too. I don't know why that is the case.
But don't worry. This is the second time it is doing so. Can you come in with the chest? Use the chest and bang the door. You are now a speaker. On the microphone on let me get this microphone, Miriam. Thank you very much. Are we together now?
Yes.
Good morning, Miriam.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you.
Yes, thank you very much. Now we are here. Yes, how many are we? Another request from Kiptanui. Kiptanui, as a speaker, I have added you. You can now speak. Now it says there is an error in adding you. Why? Okay, we are here ready to go. Adeli, you want to speak? Wanda, you are one of the main speakers. You should be up there. Wanda. Kiptanui can now speak. Good. Test your microphones. All of you who have been admitted as speakers, test your microphones. Okay. Miriam, good morning in Nairobi, Kenya.
Good morning to you, Doc.
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is high time we started our show. And as we wait for more other people to come in, is there an echo, all of you? Captain, your machines keep on disturbing, and I'm not going to waste much time here. You keep on dropping. What is the problem? Okay, good morning. This is Friday, 21st. Miriam, are we together? Can we go?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. We are ready to go. You have the background notes.
I'm ready. We can start.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, viewers across the continents of the world, in America, in Europe, in Africa itself, on the continent of Africa. The war in Ukraine is the biggest threat to the international community, to the world order, and the security of this continent, great continent of Africa. For us, our main thing today is to look at the effects of this war. How has it affected us? How will it affect us? When can we resolve the impasse? When do we think the impasse will be resolved? How will Africa look like in the future? Are we in the right direction? Which direction do we go to? Where do we go? What do we do? What does it teach us what we should do? Looking at all the events that have taken place now across the continent, across Africa, and now the worst event that happened, which I predicted, Miriam, I predicted this event a few days ago. And I told the world that there will be something that is very strange about the British politics. A few days ago, you see, last week, I was telling you that some British politics is going to change. The direction will change. And I'm glad to tell you that the conservatives in Britain have lost. They have lost. I think they cannot manage this country anymore. They cannot manage this country. It is time in the world and the British people to understand that time has come that when salt becomes saltless, you change. So the events in the United Kingdom have vindicated me again as a member of the Labour Party. I'm happy that the Conservatives have again flouted in a spell of 44 days. They have resigned. So what do we do? And they have quoted exactly what Dr. Matanga has been saying. What we are going to discuss this morning up to the afternoon is the Ukrainian war. The Prime Minister of Britain, while resigning yesterday, she said some of the economic hardships that are being faced by Britain is as a result of the Ukrainian war. Okay, how if this is going to happen to a first world, the world that has been lending us money, the world that has been giving us support, donations, donor money, what will happen to the real Mother Africa? That is the question. That's why we are here today. And thank you very much, all of you who are on the platform. I can see quite a number who have come. Those who want to section from Zimbabwe, thank you very much, my brother. You are added as a speaker, accepted. You are from Zimbabwe. I'm waiting for Dar es Salaam. I am waiting for somebody from Tanzania. I can't see from Tanzania. Captain Nui, your thing keeps on dropping. I don't understand, and I'm not going to be busy looking for bringing you up and you run. Why are you running so fast? Thank you very much. Anybody from the Uganda who wants to speak, you are welcome, because I can see so many hands, so many people from my country, Uganda. Thank you very much. Good morning. Now, Miriam, before we start, give us the headlines in Nairobi, Kenya.
All right. Thank you so much. So, the leading newspapers from Kenya this morning, The Star, here's how you'll feel my pledges. Ruto, president says government plans to create jobs through an ambitious housing project. And then the Standard newspaper, hits misses of Ruto's first day. Okay, and then the Daily Nation, Ruto turns up heat on DCI crack unit. Let me see if I have some newspapers from across the continent of Africa this morning, which I think I do. All right, so we look at the Citizen from Tanzania, regions, diverse growth rate, and what they mean. That is what we have on the Citizen from Tanzania. And then we look at the Nation from Nigeria. Federal government holds deduction of CBN's loan to states. And the Guardian, also from Nigeria, Nigerian Air raves on excess budget, doubtful partnership model. The Daily News from Zimbabwe, admit your error and join ZANU PF. And then Newsday, also from Zimbabwe, bloody 2023 polls beckon. The Daily Monitor from Uganda, the most corrupt districts and agencies. And the New Vision, also from Uganda, experts warn on nursery education. So that is what we have on some of the newspapers from Kenya and others from the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have heard from Miriam.
Am I the only one who has lost Dr. Masanga?
Fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing that one. You haven't lost me. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. On February 24th, 2021, I think, yes, Russia launched an air invasion, land, sea, after months of tension between Moscow and Kiev. The attack triggered a chain of events over the next 6 years, now 1 year, including unprecedented sanctions against Russia and the expansion of NATO, which Russia was complaining about. Tens of thousands have lost their lives. 5.3 million people have been forced to flee their nations, their homes, and the greatest refugee surge for Europe. The European countries have never seen such a magnitude of people fleeing since the Second World War. This has created, and it is here for the latest on the ground updates. That is where we are now. Now, there's one thing that I want us to go back to, and that is we have got to find out this war is already amongst us. This war is already playing on Africa. Across the continent of Africa, you hear people, you hear governments, everybody giving an excuse of Ukrainian war. Are we ourselves? Are we in Ukraine? We are not in Ukraine. Is Africa near Ukraine? No, it is very far from Ukraine. But why is it that Africa finds itself locked up in Ukrainian conflict? What is the problem? What do we do? Why is it that there is a problem and we are associated with a war which is not our war? These answers can be got. These answers can be got today in our discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to have modus operandi, discipline, no more discussion, no more talking about each other, but let's talk about facts. Is this a proxy war? Why is it that every country in the world is using it as an excuse? Is Africa prepared? The prices in Kenya, the prices, high standard of living, the cost of living is rising, the food prices are rising, the fuel prices are rising. Everybody is singing Ukraine, 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 Ukraine. So is Ukraine the new the new excuse, scapegoat? Are we in order to say that some wars come for purposes that we don't know? This is what we want to talk. And the facts are very clear. As we speak right now, how many Africans know about the Ethiopian war? How many Africans know that Mogadishu, there is still a war? How many Africans know there is a war in DRC Congo? How many Africans know there is a war in Libya? I open the floor, and Miriam, you can coordinate, as even if you are not a co-host. I don't know why your machine, your technical department right now in Punchline African headquarters in Nairobi, they better start working on your machine so that it accepts my co-host. You have put a button where I cannot access you, but we can only speak. So thank you very much. I can see Ismail here. I can see Dr. Wanda. I can see Engineer Saxon from Zimbabwe. I can see my friend. It is an Arabic name or Ethiopian name. But thank you very much. I don't know. You'll have to introduce yourself. when you start speaking. I can see Gafi did. That one I know. Ismail, I don't know much. I can see Kiptanui. But let me give the microphone to Dr. Wanda to open the floor for us. Wanda, take it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Masanga. I look into this war and get into the question: is the Ukraine-Russia war a proxy war? Then why does it affect Africa? Now, a proxy war is a war that a major power is involved in it, but not directly. Like what we had during the 1950s, 54s, the Vietnam War, where the North Korea decided to invade the South Korea, then the two nations were fighting each other. We ended up with countries like Russia, countries like China, joining forces to help the North Korea. Then countries like USA decided to go the side of the South. Therefore, what we're experiencing in Ukraine and I mean today, it's not very different. It's not quite, I mean, it's not so different from what we experienced during the Vietnamese War in the 1950s, of which you look into the Vietnamese War in the 1950s, the major impact that the war had, it ended up realigning countries. We had the geopolitical realignments, of which the geopolitical realignments ended up affecting production aspect of the economy. Now, getting back into the Ukraine war, and why I look at it as a proxy war, a war where two nations are fighting, but you have so many other power nations that are also involved in this. Now, the Russia-Ukraine war, you look at it, the challenges started way back. That in 2014, the annexation, I mean, Russia decides and annex a part of, that is Crimea. But in 2019, when Ukraine has had a change of their constitution, they were too close, they aligned themselves too close to NATO. And you look at NATO, there's some point when NATO was in direct conflict with Russia, that they got to a point of suspending the Russian officials in Brussels, which at the end of the day, Russia now decided and closed down the NATO offices in Moscow. And you look at the war still, that today we have so many countries that are standing, I mean, by Russia, I mean, by Ukraine. You look at countries like Germany, countries like France, countries like Slovakia, Canada, USA, so many countries. In fact, we had a meeting in Brussels sometimes back. That was on June 15th this year, of which the meeting that was chaired by Austin with the Secretary of Defense of USA. Now, the Secretary of Defense USA they organized this meeting on how do we promote, the Ukrainians. They want to ensure that their military is strong. They want to give them the machineries and all those things. Therefore, what ended up, what is happening in this case is that Russia is today having our own friends, and Ukraine is having their own friends, which in this case will end up now affecting the geopolitical, that will have countries realigning themselves. Now, if you look into Africa now as a continent, Africa is a developing, it's considered the poorest continent in the world as we speak today. Yes, resources we top the list, but in terms of economy, Africa is the poorest. Now, being the poorest continent, we rely so much on the Western world. And if the Western world are realigning themselves, then it means the economy of the Western world is going to be affected. And if this person that is supporting you is affected economic-wise, then they'll want to hold on their stores. They'll want to hold on what they have, so that they won't, they try and look into the future of this war. Therefore, as my opening remarks, Russia-Ukraine war is a proxy war because so many European nations, so many powers are involved in this war. They are not directly on the ground fighting, but they are supporting nations that are fighting each other. And how this now affects Africa is that whoever supports, these nations that we are supplying the few things that we have sold to them, they are the very ones that are now either forcing us to take different lines or different allies. So allow me to land on that. I listen to more people, but this war is a very close, it's a similar case of what we had as the Vietnam War, the North Korea, South Korea war, and the effect it comes into the economic production. I'll only support you when we are aligned in the same team. Number two, it's Russia, Ukraine supplies the world with food surplus. If they keep fighting, then food production is automatically going to be down. And if food production is down and these guys supplies food to the rest, to so many countries in the world, then definitely food productions, food, the food stuffs are going to hike in prices. So allow me to land on that one as I listen and probably come in later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opening speaker. I'll right now go to our second speaker. Are you hearing me, people?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Yes, we
Okay,
are.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Wanda. Let's go to Saxon from Zimbabwe. Saxon from Zimbabwe. The Ukrainian war is under Russia. Is a proxy war. Is it? And if it is, why does it affect Africa? Why are we involved? Why have we become victims of a war that does not have a boundary, a border with us? What is going on? Why is every African government saying because of Ukrainian situation, we have a problem in their countries? The food prices are going up, the fuel. We go, we make, we drill fuel, crude oil on African continent, but export it to go and be done in African countries. So take the floor, the first seat.
Sorry, I'm online. Good morning, panelists. The issue of Ukraine is and the Russian war is sensitive, and it is affecting Africa in the sense that our global economic system was is integrated, was more relying on the Western model, where everything may be rely on the US dollar. Our economy was D-dollar, was rallying more on the US dollar, and which is currently changing. People are now de-dollarizing. The reason why Africa is affected is we import majority of our, let's say, our wheat and our fertilizers from Ukraine and Russia. And it's not only Africa, the entire globe is somehow affected. Dr. Matsanga is saying, why are we affected when we've got our own oil? We understand oil producing countries fall under OPEC. And recently, OPEC decided to cut down on production. And this is is leading to price hikes in terms of oil. That's actually has got a knock-on effect on African nations as well, because in as much as we have oil, but we don't run the production facilities. Like if you know Nigeria has got oil, but it does have shortages because it didn't invest in more in the on the refining process. What we need to do and address is to decouple ourselves to become self-reliant, because we have been so much hinged on the Western economies or relying on other nations in as much as we cannot survive on our own. But Africa doesn't trade on its own. We shun each other, and that's why we are feeling the pinch of the Russian-Ukraine war. This is a proxy war, correct. We've got NATO on the other side, and we've got Russia, and these allies are starting to coming in open. We've got China is also backing Russia, and you look at how much trade is controlled by China. Anything that affects China will affect the world. In Russia, when USA cut it off from the financial systems, it moved to the Chinese side where they've used the Union Pay and they introduced the MA of the banking platform. So the proxy war we are bound to be affected one way or the other because we are in a globalized economy. The only thing that we need to learn from this war is to invest in our own systems, be independent, and as it stands, nations are picking sides given their interests, specifically because everyone is no way his bread is buttered. We are on the verge of having a new world war. What is a new world order? What is happening in Europe? It's a clear indication that the dominance of the Western system is coming to an end, and we need to embrace and prepare ourselves. How are we going to survive in the coming new world order? And I think as Africans, we don't need to become subservient. We have to become players. We own all the resources. We need to be independent and invest in developing our resources so that we are not caught up in this mess like we are in. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Miriam, as a co-host inside the line. I think now you are officially there as a co-host. You can also moderate on my behalf when I get tired. But here we have got so far 2 speakers. Let me move to Ismail. Before Ismail, we had Mr. Speaker. Your hand is up, but your name is written in Arabic. So I don't
It is
know.
Suleiman.
Yes, Suleiman here
Suleiman.
from Addis
Okay,
Ababa.
Suleiman, take the floor.
Thank you, sir. Suleiman from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Mr. David, how are you?
Oh,
I'm happy
it
to be
is
here.
you.
Yes, it is me.
Welcome, Suleiman, my brother.
Yeah, my dear. You know what? I heard you say that you will die fighting for Africa.
We can't hear you. Come near the microphone.
Yes, I hear you say that you die for fighting for Africa. Is that right?
Yes, for a united Africa, not a split Africa.
Yes, United Africa. I'll take bullet from you, for you rather.
Yes.
I'll
Thank
take
you.
bullet for you, brother. So I'll start saying what I want to say about this war in Ukraine, which has to do a lot with the world. It's a world war, literally, I would say, because proxy as it is, everyone is involved. Let me start from the war in Ethiopia. The war in Ethiopia started, as you know, when TPLF, the minority, racist group attacked the national force of Ethiopia stationed there. Then the whole world turned against the Ethiopian government instead of the culprit. Just judge me. I mean, you know the case. It was TPLF that triggered the war, and they admitted it by their own TV. But the world is still blaming the Ethiopian government. Then now it is becoming an international case. Even World Health Organization is blaming Ethiopia, while the World Health Organization was supposed to reveal the crime of TPLF, going after village to village, destroying health center. Then when it comes to Ukraine, Ukraine was supposed to be friend, especially to Russia instead of America. Kenya is close to Ethiopia. We have to be friend to Kenya first. This TPLF is friend to America, not even to Eritrea. That is a problem in the world. Some people are traitors. Some group are traitors.
I hear you. I hear you 100%. Trust me, a lot of people do. But you have to realize also, this sounds really shitty. No one gives a fuck. Think about, Cyprus. Cyprus is being preoccupied by Turkey right now.
Lex.
Yes.
Lex. Hold your microphone. Hold your microphone. I don't want to switch you off. Let him finish his point. Then I have admitted you. You'll speak.
Do you hear me?
May I finish
Yeah,
first?
let's learn to be democratic. Okay, switch off your microphone, please.
Do you hear it?
Is it Mr. David? I mean, Dr. David.
Lex, can you switch off your microphone, or I switch it for you? I'll
Yes,
mute
I
your
hear it.
microphone
I mean,
for now.
do you hear me?
No. I don't want you to speak at all for now. Alex, go ahead. Speaker Ismail from Addis Ababa, finish.
Yeah. So for Africa to be united and for all of us, to live in peace and democratically, we should stop being traitors. We should stop working for others. We have to be friends for one another. Ethiopia should be friend of its neighbors first. Like Ethiopia should be best friend of Kenya, Sudan, Djibouti, and Eritrea, and all of this. We must not invite the third, fourth, kind of group to kind of mediate us. If you, Mr. Dr. David and Suleiman are at loggerhead, we need to invite either Sudanese or Djiboutians or African to mediate us. Those people who has, hidden agenda kind of comes and muddy the water. And then the problem kind of broadens. We are fighting for 2 years now. Life is very, very terrible, especially for the people in Tigray, in Ethiopia, and Addis Ababa also, because they want the war to continue. We must be.
Let me hold you there. Hold the microphone. Okay. Don't go away. Now wait first. You have stated your point that what happens in the world is double standards. We have double standards. The war in Ethiopia is taking place, but we have glorified more about the Ukraine-Russian war. Double standards. Is that the point you are making?
Not only that, they not only that, but also the world is more than double standard. The world, when you are a culprit, they blame the victim.
Okay.
That's what I see. That's what I understand. That's what I witness here. Because TPLF is, kind of massacring people in Amhara and Afar for nothing. But the Ethiopian government is blamed.
You have made your point. You have made your point. Thank you very much. Hold the fire there.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My brother, don't go away, because there is Lex from Tigray. She's here, and we want somebody from Tigray to line up to challenge he might have a different way. We want a balanced debate. Don't. Thank you. You've made your point. Okay, Ismail. I don't know whether then
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Ismail, take the microphone.
Thank you, the great Dr. David Matsanga. I'm really privileged to be here. I have 3 points to make. Number one, is the Russo-Ukraine war a proxy war? Correct. It's a proxy war. The American and the Western European countries are behind Ukraine. And this is evident by the amount of support, the psychological support, the material support in terms of the weapon it's giving them. In Africa, have we seen proxy war? Yes. For example, when South Sudan was fighting with North Sudan, this was a proxy war. Israel was behind South Sudan. Do we have another scenario? When Kenya is fighting Somali, is it really Kenyans wanting to go to war with Somali? There's somebody behind Kenya, which is United States of America. Okay. Concerning Ethiopia, after South Sudan splitted and started causing chaos among itself, we don't want any other splitting in Africa. We want a united Africa. So, as Kenyans, we are with the Ethiopian government. We don't support civil war. We will stand with the government. What are the possible ramifications and post-war effect? As an African, I will not shed any tear. Palestinians have been killed. They didn't speak about it. Ethiopians in Africa, Congo, people have died, children have died, women have died. They didn't talk about it. So I will not shed any tears for this Ukraine-Russian war. What are the possible ramifications? But before that, why are we Africans suffering from this war? We are suffering from our ignorance. A country in war, that is Ukraine, feeding Kenya, a country in prayers. We need to do more than prayers and start planting and improving on agriculture. There are some ramification for this post-war. We'll see some changes.
Ismail, hold the fire. You said a country at war in Ukraine
feeding a country in prayers. That is Kenya. Do you see what's ridiculous? So,
no,
Dr. David,
I think you have Miriam across there, Miriam in Kenya. Any Kenyan on this platform, please stand up. This guy has made a very serious statement that Ukraine is at war, feeding a country at prayers.
In Kenya.
Oh my God!
You see how funny is that?
I have my advocates for my country called who is here, Lukwago and others. But you go ahead with your microphone. This is a very serious indictment on behalf of Kenya that a country at war is feeding a country at prayers.
Yes, this is crazy, man.
Are you happy? You can't jump in here.
So, Doctor, we have possible.
This is a Friday, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is Friday, and then don't be very sad. Don't be annoyed. This is a Friday. Relax. Mr. Ismail has wrote something very interesting that Ukraine
and the kitchen is very hot.
But it is feeding countries in Africa that are at prayers, including my country, Uganda. There are so many prayers there. Lukwago will tell us. Continue and finish.
So, there are possible implications of this war. The first implication, which we as Africans we should be happy, will be shifting from the petrodollar axis to other options. Because now, even the Gulf countries, they don't respect USA anymore. They have refused to pump more gases. The second ramification will be moving from the unipolar American axis to multiple axes. We want also, like BRICS is coming. You know, we have BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India. You know, so BRICS is coming, South Africa. These are a country that control 40% of the world GDP and 60% of the world population is living under those countries. So we need another different axis. Another ramification will be that as Africans, we have to be resilient. And from this, we are learning tough lessons and we will have to be resilient. Thank you. Back to you to the studio, Dr. David Matsanga.
Miriam, I think you better come in here as a co-host and call Lukwago and call Lukwago and Kiptanui from Kenya. I think let's take Kiptanui, then we bring Lukwago. Kiptanui, you have been unmuted as being a country at prayer, asking for a country at war for food. And
thank you.
From Uganda also line up to explain why you are decrying for help from Ukraine when a country is at war, yet you are peaceful. Lukwago, I want to hear this from you from the bottom of your heart. But Tanui from Kenya, tell us why are you crying for food from Ukraine?
Thank you so much, Dr. David. Thank you for the panelists. Thank you for everybody for having me this morning. I'm actually joining you in Kenya, in Nakuru City. And recently, Dr. David and the panelists, we were actually crying in this country and we are still crying because of the food prices. Oil prices are now up, food prices are now up. We don't have fertilizer. We are actually sleeping, and when we ask our government where is the problem, everybody is complaining. It is because the Russian and Ukraine war. There is something I want to state this morning about Africa, and I want to say that Africa, we are not prepared to solve our own crisis. We've depended so much in other countries, in Europe, in USA, Ukraine, Russia, and so some many other things, Dr. David, like even in fertilizer here in our country, we can be able even to produce. But our industries are nowhere to be seen. Cartels have actually finished it. We can be able even to get our food, to produce our food, but we are still blaming Russia. We are still blaming the Ukraine and the Russian war, which has destabilized most of the African countries. When are we going to stand as Africans for Africans? You know, politically, African leaders actually have depended so much in other countries in Europe and some parts of the world. But when we get prepared as Africans so that we can be able to handle our issues, it is better. Now it is Ukraine and Russia. They are now fighting, and it has affected us so much. Now, let's say, for example, we get another two countries fighting also, and we are down. Where are we going to get food? Where are we going to get anything that will sustain this continent, this great continent of Africa? We'll be nowhere to be seen in this world. Now, Africans and my fellow Africans whom we are here together, from Uganda, from Ethiopia, from other parts, we are seeing something which is so strange, Dr. David and the panel, that there are so many countries in Europe, in USA, and other parts of the world, which are actually ready to support other, to take sides on other countries, so that, like now, the war which is happening between Ukraine and Russia, we can see some other countries supporting Ukraine. We can see some other countries supporting Russia, instead of supporting them to stabilize, to get peace and move on. They're supporting them with an hidden agenda. One day in this Africa, Dr. David, it will reach that time where we can even discover some other natural resources in this country. Let's say, for example, the way we discovered oil in Turkana. So, in case it will be a civil war in this country, there are some other countries in Europe and USA and other parts of the world that will support it. Why? It's because they have interest. You see, when you see people are supporting Ukraine, so that they are now fighting with us, there must be something that these other people are looking for. So it is a wake-up call. It is a wake-up call to African countries to know that if we are not going to make our countries better, if we are not going to stand for ourselves, if we are not going to unite an Africa as Africa and say, okay, let us have a fertilizer plan in Uganda, let us have a fertilizer plan in Ethiopia, let us have a fertilizer plan in Nigeria, let us have so that we can exchange these things, so that we cannot be depending on these countries. What will happen if some crisis happens, like the way there is war? Are we going to die? Are we not going to fail our cause? So let us wake up. And as you've said, as my fellow panelists have said, it is a proxy war. It is true. And it has actually affected Africans. Our brothers and sisters in Tigray, in Ethiopia, are actually suffering also because of this war. So let us, Africans, let us actually be careful, and let us stand for Africa. Thank you.
All right, Kiptanui, what I heard you to be saying is that this war, the invasion in Ukraine by Russia, is just a convenient scapegoat or an excuse that our leaders perhaps in the continent are using, because we know that Africa has suffered the curse of food insecurity for a long time. So perhaps I'll just throw this to anyone who'd like to take it. Is it about time Africa started focusing seriously on matters food security?
True, Miriam. True, it is true. African leaders have used this as an excuse, as a way of escaping. You see, Miriam, if you like our country here in Kenya, when there were campaigns our leaders actually promised us a lot. It promised us even that immediately we take over, we are going to reduce the prices, food prices, we are going to reduce fuel, we are going to make life be comfortable. But life now is becoming unbearable. And what are they using? It is because we have a problem in Ukraine, we have a problem in Russia. So it is actually a wake-up call. It is one way that our African leaders are using to escape. And we need actually to tell people, to tell our fellow Africans in this continent that let us take these leaders one-on-one. Let us tell them the truth. If they are not going to deliver, let them not be blaming other countries, Miriam. Thank you.
All right, interesting there. I would like to jump in there and give their thoughts on what has been said.
Lukwago.
Thank you so much,
Miriam.
Doctor.
Yes, he can come in.
Lukwago,
Madam.
my co-host Lukwago.
Thank you so much,
come
Doctor.
in.
And Madam Miriam Ogut.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
The Ukraine-Russian war, it is true, is a proxy war. Starting with Doctor's question, yes, Putin wishes to challenge the unipolar system where US is the only hegemonic power ruling over other states globally. Russia and China are championing for the multipolar system where other countries can also have power and control over other states. Doctor, for US to maintain the unipolar system, it came up with IMF, World Bank, and its dollar as the reserve currency, backed up by the stable US economy. To defend, no, before I go to NATO, okay? So, Doctor, you happen to realize that for any African country to get a loan from World Bank, those loans, they come with conditions attached to them. A case in study is Uganda, okay? A professor called Professor Waswa Barunya came out openly and told us that Uganda cannot involve itself in any modern agricultural method simply because US blocked us. That for Uganda to receive loans from IMF or World Bank, you don't have to involve yourself in actually injecting money in the education sector, injecting money in the health sector. You need to depend on loans from IMF with such condition. So we ended up actually getting food from Ukraine. That's what we are getting from those in corridors of power. That food prices are high simply because of the war in Ukraine. Why? We get wheat from Ukraine. But Africa, Uganda in particular, is a country blessed with 2 rainy seasons a year. Okay? We have fertile soils. We have blessed with rivers and lakes that can support agriculture throughout the year. But we cannot enjoy that simply because of the conditions from IMF and what? World Bank. That's why we are suffering simply because of that war. General Kaindo Tafire came out. Now we have a crisis of getting a passport. Yeah? It is taking us like 4-5 months to get a passport simply because of the Russia-Ukrainian war. That's what General Kaindo Tafire, the Minister of Internal Affairs, said. That the materials from issuing those passports do come from Russia. Therefore, we are having a passport crisis in Uganda. People are paying their money, but they are taking long to get those passports simply because of the Russia-Ukrainian war. So, Doctor, we found ourselves in that conundrum. Okay, you cannot practice agriculture simply because of conditions and barriers from United States of America, a superpower. That must change. Going to NATO, okay, for United States to defend its hegemony, it had to come up with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, where its allies contribute soldiers to deal with any threat to any NATO member. Okay, so Russia fears a clause in NATO that states that any NATO member attacked means an attack on all NATO members. So for NATO to come so close to Russia, that will become an existential threat. Yeah? So, Doctor, that can take you back to the Cuba missile crisis of 1962. That nearly lured the world into a third world war. United States said, Russia, you cannot plant your missile near me, because they say Cuba is like over 90 miles away from America. Eh? Then Russia was also against United States planting its missile in Turkey over and Italy. And they were like, no, we should not allow that. UN had to intervene and calmed them. What? Calmed them. So, for Russia sees Ukraine joining of NATO. By the way, Ukraine started its moves to join NATO since 1994. But up to today, Russia has been against it. So, in their move, that is China and Russia, to challenge the unipolar system, actually the war sparked off from where? From Ukraine. But going back to Africa, why would we suffer? Okay? Why would our leaders sacrifice their sovereignty to those superpowers? Simply because they are the one who spoon feed them. That must change in this coming new world order, where United States of America is also saying that in the new world order coming, I must be on top. So we've ended up into the Russia-Ukrainian war, because it all started with Boris, this gentleman called Boris Nemtsov, who was shot dead when he wanted to come up with a press conference stating it clear that Russia was behind separatists in eastern Ukraine. They shot him dead, but 7 years down the road, we are seeing the impacts of his death. Okay? When Russia annexed Crimea, Europe sanctioned Russia. And Russia happened to seek allies from where? From Africa. And when it came to Africa, it challenged the United States of America a lot. Then this gentleman called John Bolton called a conference. He used it to work in the Trump administration and made it clear United States is going to change its priority from the fight against terrorism to the fight against Russia, China, domination of Africa. I rest my case. Oh, no. I talk about the Minsk Pact. The Minsk Agreement. Mr. Putin thought the Minsk Agreement.
The Minsk
Declaration. Yes. Mr. Putin thought that Minsk Agreement were to guarantee the security demand that Ukraine is never allowed to join NATO. United States of America and NATO rejected that Russian demand. And from there, Ukraine, with the support of US and NATO, said that it will never allow Russia to have veto powers on Ukrainian foreign policy and decisions. So many people in Ukraine, most of the president, saw the fulfillment of Minsk Agreement as a concession to Russian aggression. I rest my case, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Lukwago. Before you rest your case, can you explain to people what a polar, bipolar, and a polar? You know, people might think it is a polar system, antipolar. Tell the world what bipolar. You are showing great strength today, this morning.
Yes, Doctor. Unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. Unipolar, this is where we are in a situation where one country has control and influence over other states. Only one single state ruling over others. And US today is enjoying that. Okay? Bipolar, that is a situation whereby two states have control over other states. Russia, no, per se. US has its states, it has control over, and Russia has its states, it has control over. Then multipolar, that is a situation where many states have control over, others. And that's what Russia and China are advocating for. And the United States is not willing to let that. And I would support US because, Doctor, I don't think so for a country like Russia, where its opponents are in prison, where you shoot to kill your opponents. Actually, we shall allow you to have control over other states. That cannot happen. That cannot be accepted.
Why can't
First
you,
change.
Lukwago, come home, land with which other African country shoots its people?
Like Uganda. Yes. Uganda.
This is
in each and every election we do go. Yes, it is a Friday, but over more than 200 people were killed in the just concluded 2021 fraudulent elections. Okay? An election does not mean to kill people. And he had to kill them. Actually,
Lukwago, hold the fire there. I want the listeners and those watching in the space to understand the effects of Russia-Ukrainian war. What effects has it got on Africa? If you are supporting Russia, are you also going to support the policy that Russia? That's what Lukwago is saying. Lukwago at the same time says it is the dominance. United States has dominated the world. But Russia came up and said we might also be superpowers and dominate the world. But at the end, Lukwago comes up to say, he supports the United States because United States does not shoot people, but Russia shoots its opponents. And I landed with the microphone as he's going to land and hide away. And I don't want him to say I stopped him from saying. And by the way, this platform, our words, we have a disclaimer. The owners of the words take the words, not us. Lukwago, land the microphone.
Doctor, actually, I'm so much interested when you come in to explain actually what I've talked about. That gives me hope. I like you to expound more about what I've talked about because I learn a lot from you. Thank you. So, but all in all, for me, I've told you where I support. I have to support United States of America simply because however much it is exploiting us, but at times it considers human rights. Okay? That for us to give you a loan, now they are talking.
Lukwago, yeah. I want you to land the point. In short, it's better to have an exploiter than a killer.
Exactly.
Are you saying Russians just kill people?
Yes. Talk about the Wagner machinery, the error they are doing in the Central African Republic, in Syria.
This is what we want to hear on the platform.
Yes. Talk about now the current leader of opposition in Russia. Where is he? He was poisoned. And now they cooked up. So you think we can allow such a country to preside over others when your opponents are languishing in prison for cooked up charges? So we cannot allow that dictator. Mr. Putin is a dictator, terrorist. He came to power by blowing up apartments. Okay? Blowing up apartments. Over 300 Russians were killed. He's a former KGB. You know what KGB did? The terrorist acts KGB did. And we want him to preside over a country. No, that must not happen. I rather stay with the American who exploit us for a reason. Thank you so much, Doctor.
It's more than American. We have BRICS. We have BRICS, for God's sake. It's not just American versus Russia. We are even
come in. Whoever is now, you know, Lukwago has now stimulated people's brains. Can we? I can see Saxon has come back.
Look, my dear, it's still killing people. Whether you're exploiting people, you're still killing people in the long run. You are talking about somebody who was an opposition leader, but somebody exploited people. Millions of children are dying due to malnutrition. Millions of children are dying, of men and women are dying due to poverty. So who is better? As African, we don't care. We just want a balanced hegemony. We want a balanced global leadership. We don't care whether two opposition leaders have been shot dead while the other one is exploiting millions of people. Let us broaden our mind. We don't want any form of exploitation. We want a balanced system. We have BRICS as alternative. We have the Gulf country as alternative. We can have United States of Africa as an alternative, for God's sake. We don't care about opposition leader in
But
Russia.
Mr.
now, Ismail,
when
hold
kano
the
muama
fire.
Gaddafi,
Hold the fire.
when kano muama Gaddafi earmarked
Hey,
a
we can
plan
have a United
for a
States of
United
Africa as an alternative. What are you talking about? People being shot dead in Russia? We don't give a damn.
Ismail,
Though we don't have any
Ismail,
form of exploitation.
Mr. Isma, when Kano
Ismail,
Muammar Gaddafi came up with a
no,
what?
Lukwago,
With a plan to have a united
Lukwago.
Africa. Yes,
Mr.
doctor.
Lukwago,
I
Mr.
listen.
Lukwago, hold the fire first. Ismail and Lukwago, I want you to be organized. All of you are right in your right democratically. Are you saying, Ismail, Ismail, you want a non-aligned Africa? Is it that so?
I want a United States of Africa as one of the multipolar system, as one of the polar theory, as one of the forces in the global game. Not either a Russia or American by
So
model
in
of
short, you are saying non-aligned.
correct.
Okay.
Non-alignment.
Can we then go to the non-aligned movement that we used to have? Where did it go? Hold your thought, Lukwago. You have heard what Ismail is saying. Land the microphone with one word. Lukwago?
Yes, Mr. Isma, you should make some research about the Marshall Aid Plan. That saw you getting independence. And it is that plan that came up with the ideas of World Bank, which organizers come up with exploitative policies, which your so-called African leaders do assent to, which they do approve. And once you don't approve them, United States has the capacity to oust you out of power. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi tried to challenge that. But before, those Western power had opposed him. The so-called African leaders were the first to oppose him. And when they opposed him, he infiltrated the cultural leaders, okay? Because Gaddafi would sneak into Uganda without Museveni's awareness. That's when Mr. Museveni wrote to United States of America, and Gaddafi was dealt with NATO. I rest my case.
Oh my God. These are very serious statements, Lukwago, you are making. I hope you are in the bunker. So thank you very much. Ismail, I think we rested the case there. Let's move more. The next set of speakers, Mohammed, Ndoto ya Africa, meaning the dream of Africa. Sylvanas Ganta.
Yeah,
And then we have Sylvanas Ganta. Then we have Saxon speaker from Harare, Zimbabwe. Let's begin with Mohammed and tell us where you are coming from, where you are right now.
Good Friday, everyone. From Somalia, but I know we live in Kenya. So this war, what Ukraine war is perhaps, yes, I agree with that, because I believe that that war created the United States because of their interest. They want to create some. They want to undermine Russian capacity, and now they carry all the weapons from Western or NATO, another way the NATO. Even so, they want to undermine that the capacity of the Russia. So that's why, even though Vladimir Putin, he try to collect this allies. For example, just go Iran, Tehran. Then Tehran they give drones. That drones even sometimes when you look at that allies, it can cause it has a lot of problem in the world. So according to our continent, just we support that. For example, sometimes we support Russia. Another side we support Ukraine with Western people, but our people they face a lot of problem, and we can't solve that problem. So if you look at that situation, that conditions, you feel there is a lot of problem because our leaders they are not aware. They don't they don't able to solve our problem in our content. For example, we live green content, but we complain shortage food. So that is our that's a mental problem. We didn't see we didn't see our capacity, our resources. So we can manage that problem, all of them, if we see our capacity, our resource. We don't need another to depend on another people or another content or another country. But we needed to see that capacity. We we are not recognize our rich continent. So that's a problem. The United States they created a lot of countries. Even though my mother country ongoing operation against terrorist group. So that operation now it is a created operation from ground. For example, the local community they say we don't want this group because they are against our life. They take everything. So we wanted to fight in this group. We don't want to stay this country because they undermine our life. For example, they take everything from the community. So that operation, even now, United States,
Okay.
they don't like to go in well. They don't
Mohammed,
want to go. Yeah,
Mohammed,
doctor.
you have made your points very well. In fact, for me, I can summarize them for you. You
Thank
have
you.
been very you are saying enough is enough.
Yes,
Africans in Mogadishu, in Somalia, are picking up the arms to chase the groups that the Americans have brought there. Is that the point
absolutely.
you are making?
Yeah, that's for example, there's operation now going in Somalia,
Yes.
doing Somali soldiers community, Somali community,
They have
even
taken up
Africa,
arms. They have
yeah,
taken up arms to fight Al Shabaab. Yes.
yeah, African
Okay.
Union, soldiers of African Union, for example, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Burundi. So that even, for example, if I share with you some history happened, I think it was past weeks. Someday they happened the war, some days against that group. Then United States say we use the drones, this group, so stop the war. After that, they didn't do.
Yes. Have we lost him?
No.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, I'm Sylvanus, and I live in the USA.
Who is
And
this?
from what I am hearing,
Who is this?
do what? Sylvanus Gunter?
Yeah, it's Kanta. Thank you very much. Yeah, make it quicker. Thank you very much. We lost Mohammed. Mohammed, switch off your microphone now. We are talking to Kanta, then Donto.
But is he in Africa? Living in Africa?
The what?
Is he affected in Africa? This Silvanus?
Yes.
He lives in Africa?
No.
Talking about our issue here.
Doto. Mr. Ganta, let's listen to Doto. Let's listen to him, please.
Okay, can you hear me? I live in the USA, and
Yes.
I have heard for quite a while now how the people in Africa are treated. I don't like it. And I've heard the way the government runs things. I don't like that. And I've also heard that it's a mixture between, you can correct me if I'm wrong anywhere, because I'm only going by the things I'm told. I heard the government runs the way everything is. Then I heard if it comes to purchasing land, then you guys have kings in different sections that agrees to it or don't. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told.
Ganta, I think that is the Africa of the past.
You think what?
It's the Africa of the past. The Africa today also has elections. Did they tell you we have elections like the United States, where you also steal elections, through Trump and Biden, and where you also storm the White House and want to ban it down. Is that not the America you have today?
The America we have today is better than what you're seeing on the news.
Yes.
But what happened was uncalled for, and I just personally, I have no respect for anybody that done that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I tell you something?
Let me educate you on the Africa we have today. The Africa we have today, Mr. Ganta, is a producer of coltan, gold, diamonds, which the Americans drill come for in Congo. They make a war, and that war has never ended in Congo. You don't have coltan. Do you have coltan in the US? You don't. You come and pick the coltan, the diamonds, the gold. Not only America, the French. For example, the French have been destabilizing Congo for the last 60 years. Congo can never have peace. We are not blaming America, but we are now talking out as Africans. How long shall we be destabilized for 60 years, 7 decades? And yet you collect our diamonds, our gold, our everything, even you are about to collect our blood. This is the whole problem here. So Africans are saying, hello, how long shall we wait? What you have heard about us having kings, those are medieval operations, that the wars, we don't have kings treating people. Yes, there are a few leaders in Africa who kill, who torture people, who kill people, but parts of Africa is beginning to grow up into a democratization system. So, Kanta, that is the situation. Mr. Ganta.
Well, from what I've heard, you're not being treated too good by a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay, now this is what I've heard. And if you got hatred towards a lot of people, from what I've been told, I don't blame you. I would have it too, because I would not like to be mistreated like that.
Okay.
But now, here's the reason I asked to speak. The food shortages, you guys have all the place you need to grow your own food, but the problem is, from what I've been told is you don't have the equipment because different people didn't want you using it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm talking about your farming equipment.
One of the problems, Mr. Gunter, although I can now detect your equipment is coming from one of the embassies, which I have detected. I'm also very well organized in international systems. I have now seen you have double gadgets that one is listening properly and the one is killing the voice. You should have actually come out openly to tell us that you want to listen on behalf of an embassy. We are not condemning America. We are not condemning anybody. We are simply saying, is this war a proxy war? If it is a proxy war, what effects has it got for Africa? And thank you very much for disguising your voice on the equipment, because my systems have told me you have a second system here. So one is the voice changed. But thank you, Gata. Let's move on. Hold your point there. Mr. Ndoto is eagerly waiting to answer you. Just hold the microphone. Just put a
My
stop
point
on
would
it.
be this:
He will answer
you guys have everything you need, and you don't need to be pushed around. I would like to see you stand up and get somebody to represent you better than what you've had. That's my personal feelings on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, my American friend with the second microphone. God bless you. Listen to my words. I'm a real Pan-African and standing up for Africa. We want a better Africa. We want an Africa without corruption. I think, Mr. Gunter, what is killing most of Africa is corruption. If
Yes,
Africa can cut down corruption, we have enough, and give it 20 years to come, you will be begging us instead of begging you.
well, I'd be happy to see that because,
Yes.
well,
Give us
not us
20 years
begging
without
you.
you coming to interfere with us. 20 years to come, I might not be on planet Earth. But Africa will rise, I tell you. Because
Africa has everything it
you have
needs to
exhausted all
be.
what you want. Ours we have started. If we can kill corruption, this continent will be a better continent. That's all I'm struggling to bring. And thank you for coming to my program with double unit listening equipment. But I am ready to make any challenge. Thank you, Gunter. The advice you have given us is great. We must stand up and fight for our space.
Thank you, Doctor. I do agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Matsanga, thanks very much. Can I just say one word to Mr. Gunter?
Yes, and your name is Chuku from Biafra. Yes, say it. Go ahead.
Exactly. Good day, fellow Africans. Good day, comrades and lovers of freedom from all over the world. My name remains Mazi Chukwuemeka Anyoru Okafor. Mazi Okafor is from Biafra. Biafra is in the southeastern Nigeria at the Gulf of Guinea, and I base in Germany, Bremen. Mr. Gunther, as I understand, is like you live in America, but your name sounds Dutch, German.
My last name does come from Germany.
Okay, good. It's just for me to give you a little bit experience of our life and history. Thanks very much that you have patience to listen to us and you have interest about African situation. First of all, I'm going to start diplomatically from the topic of today, the war in Ukraine, if it's a proxy war. You see, our biggest problem as Africans is that no matter how the situation is right now in Africa, one kudos I give African leaders is for turning their back on the West, what got to do with this war on Russia. Why? Because Africans were never colonized by the Russians. Russians have no single colony in Africa. Who is fucking us up? Who is raping, murdering, plundering Africa are the West. When I say the West, I mean America with their allies, Britain, Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, Holland, and all the rest of them. Those are the ones that have been raping Africa, stealing our resources, killing our future leaders, those that were supposed to turn Africa around to be competitive more than the way your country is. You see, there's something we have to correct. Congo, the situation in Congo would have never been like this if America were not afraid of what Congo could be under a very good leader. We can never, African youths of these days, we can never forget Patrice Lumumba. We are still mourning for this great man till today. No matter how you people try to blackmail and call him a devil, we African youth, Africans are still weeping for this man, for standing tall, telling you in your presence, we don't need flag independence. We need our independence. That was his only crime. That was why CIA with the West killed him. I will continue counting. The next great man that came out to say, what you guys are doing, I don't want it. You're alone. Africans don't need it. Africans can stand on their own without you people. Is Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. Who killed him? The French government. They killed him. What was his crime? He refused to take loan from France. He showed France that without European help, without the Western world loan, that he could build his country. And he did it. Emancipated the women, everybody. Carried everybody along. As they saw the way Burkina Faso economy started growing and everything, it was a threat to them. What did they do? They eliminate him. Of the recent one, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, a man that took Libya from the poorest of the poor and make Libya the only African country that is better than what you have here in West. I live here in the Western world. He turned Libya to paradise. He turned Libya to heaven. And it was like a kind of a needle in the eyes of the Western hegemony. You people could not bear it. Your leaders could not endure it. Once you heard that he was trying to lift the whole African country out of poverty, that he wants to change the rhetoric, the narrative, this impression that Africa is poor, that this man is ready to change it. You guys colonized, your Western leaders colonized with your stooge, the criminal African leaders that saw him as threats. And then all allegation was laid against him. Look for the gullible and ignorant Africans in his country to use, and through that way, you could kill and eliminate an innocent man. What we have today in Libya is chaos. Chaos, complete chaos. That is what we have today in Libya. And that credit goes to you, America, with France more especially. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, those people are responsible for it. This I must say. But in Russia, because there's a proverb in Africa, every day is for the thief, one day is for the owner. That is exactly what America is meeting now in Russia.
Every day Just repeat that slowly.
Every day is for the thief. One day is for the owner. That is the proverb in my place. Every day is for the thief. One day is for the owner. That is what the West is meeting in the hand of Vladimir Putin of Russia today. Because today they have their match. Today we have, thank God we are in the 21st century, where I must not depend on the criminal BBC. Thank God we are on the 21st century, where we must not depend on criminal CNN or NBC, American Western media to get the truth. Thank God we are on the 21st century, where I can call my brother who is living in Ukraine, who is living in Russia, who is living in every other part of the world, and he will give me first-hand information of what is happening there. You guys cannot manipulate the media anymore to change the narrative and make us support the evil with you. It is no more possible. And that's why this war with Russia is already failed before it started. That's why the third world countries, no third world countries is going to support you people on this march you started. Because the goal is to make sure that this petrodollar, that America that is standing like a thug, collecting money whenever any business is done, forcing people to do their business in dollar, that thug will not continue, that thuggery that you people were using to thug every country. If any president doesn't want to deal with you, you will sign an accord, he will go. That thing is what Vladimir Putin came out to stop, because you guys mess with the wrong person, and he's going to stop it. Just like the way he kick you people, your ass out of Syria. He's going to do it. He said it, that his mistake was watching you people kill Saddam, watching you people kill Gaddafi. But when you people started to try it with Assad, he said enough is enough. That is when he stopped stopping you people. And with his allies, with China and India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, you guys are gone. If Joe Biden did not tell you people the truth, I'm going to tell you this for life. You guys, you don't have, the West doesn't have any natural resources. You have no oil. You have no gas. You have no quota or all these things to build your handies. And the real problem you're going to get is with China. And that is what the world is waiting for. Because China will take Taiwan, whether you like it or not. And you guys cannot fight in two fronts. This is what we know. This is what they're not telling your public. But we know it. I live here in Germany. Our biggest problem is that Russia have cut the gas we are using because our leaders are stupid. And now we have inflation. Things are going up. People are demonstrating. They are not showing it in the world television in order not to show people how serious the matter is here in the Western world. Price of everything, high cost of inflation, price of everything is going up. They are now forcing us that we must not on our heaters to certain temperature in this coming winter. The industries are crumbling. I work with a Mercedes company that used to produce 350 cars every year. This year, they cannot produce 350 cars because the chips are not coming from Taiwan. The chips are not coming, and they don't have enough gas to run other machines. So they have to ration the gas they have so that they can survive through the winter. This is the problem Europe is facing today. Some of the European countries, leaders that are smart like Orban, they are failing to join that queue because they love their people. They feel, why should we follow you people to war? And you will tell us you don't have any gas to give us so that we can survive. You're telling us not to buy Russian gas. Is the chain we break at the end of the day? Because you have leaders in Europe these days coming up, like the woman that took over power in Italy recently. She is going to do business with Russia against European rules. And there is nothing the West can do about it. So in this particular game, those people that America used to threaten and thought, you must work with us, and this, most of them are waking up. It's a very big gang up against the West. because America did not expect what Saudi Arabia did to them recently, or United Arab Emirates. These are people that have always given them guarantee of oil supply and all these things. But this time around, nobody. Anybody they go and meet, we tell them, your problem with Russia, if you want us to mediate, we can do. But don't tell us not to do business with Russia. They are all doing business with Russia, because when I stand and watch you kill my brother because he said the truth, and tomorrow somebody is fighting you against it, and I know that that person is probably going to win you with my support, do you think I'm going to give you support? I will not support you. And that is what the rest of the world are saying. Putin said, you people are now this thing, you don't have now the numbers. You guys don't, the West doesn't have the numbers, because if you check it now, what is the population of the world? It's a simple mathematics. You have like 7 billion population. Okay, Russia with China, India, Africa, and some other people are already more than 5 billion. So they can do business among themselves. You guys throw Russia out of SWIFT, and they grow BRICS. With the BRICS, they are doing their business, paying with their own currency. That thing you don't want them to do. They are paying with their own currency. Their economy is growing. Before this war, 1 euro is about 90 ruble. But today, go and check. 1 euro is like 32 ruble. The Russian money, the value have tripled, more than tripled, jumped up. Most of these countries are growing. I know when the Indonesian president came, when German government invited the Indonesian president here for talks, the man told them, he listened to them. When they finished, he told them, he used an Indonesian word. This problem has nothing to do with Indonesia. We see it as a European problem. If you guys need help, we can come and meditate and look for how you people will get peace. If I'm leaving your country now, I'm stopping at Moscow to sign some deal that will benefit my people. So this your problem is not my problem. We have a different problem. And I'm going to make sure that my people feel good. That was his answer to German Chancellor.
Okay.
That is number one. If Mr. Gunther, let's go to the part 2 of it. I have enough of package for you. So can you wait?
All right. We will come back.
No, please, it's very, very important. Please, just give me 2 minutes. I'll round up. Please.
Because I see
there's some other... Please, Miss Ogutu, just 2 minutes. I'll round up, please. Just 2 minutes.
All right, just 2 minutes then.
Thank you. Mr. Gunther, you, America carried democracy in the head, human rights in the head. The West carried, they run home with it, shouting, claiming with their hypocrites. Have you heard of a man called Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a British citizen that was brutally kidnapped in Kenya and renditioned to Nigeria? What was his crime? His crime is let my people go. Give me the right that is chartered in the UN Charter, that is enshrined in the UN Charter. Article 5, self-determination is not a crime. This is the only thing this man asks for from the Nigerian government. And what did they do? They kidnapped him, brought him to Nigeria. Extraordinary rendition that is a crime against every international norm. Have you spoken anything about it today? No. Have the West said anything about it today? No. He was even traveling with a British passport. He's a British citizen. If he was a white person, white British person that was kidnapped in Kenya and renditioned to Nigeria, the queen will be, she would have grown on before she died. Or the king they have just now. Nobody is talking about it. Recently, the Appeal Court of Nigeria discharged and acquitted this man. Did the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria or the foreign U.S. Secretary of State or the American president, did they say anything? Did the Senate say anything? You guys don't have any interest about Africa. You guys did not have a... Stop trying to preach us about democracy. You guys don't give a damn about us. We are suffering because of your dealings. If you guys want to help Africa, just get the fuck out of Africa. Put your hand out of Africa. Stay on your own. Leave us alone. We can solve our problem. Stop going to meet a brother, give him money, tell him to kill the other brother. You put a house on fire so that you can steal everything. When two brothers are fighting, they're not concentrating on their properties. And you guys will keep plundering, keep stealing. That is all you want. So I'm going to give it to you raw. That is it. So if you people care about human rights, democracy, and all these things, you should start do it right, the way it is. Not only your interest, because you only remember human rights when your interest is threatened. You only remember democracy when your interest is threatened. But once it's not for your interest, you don't give a damn. There will be no Twitter, there will be no this, there will be no turmoil on social media if it is not for your interest. That is the way you guys booted our great hero, Robert Mugabe, blackmailed him for so many years, turned Zimbabwe into nonsense. Because why? The man told you people, the land is not for the white. Are we not, black people, are we not witnessing it here in your countries?
Chuku, I hear you. We all hear you.
Thanks very much. So I got emotional because I live with these people here. And I know that if I'm a millionaire, before they allow me even to buy a property here, then you can't buy, you only lease. But they're coming to Africa to buy, do anything they like, as if it belongs to them.
I hear you. Let's put a pin on that. We shall come back to that. Right now, I'd like to invite in Lotto. Lotto, if you can hear me. A lot has been said. Yes, thank you so much, Chuku. Lotto, if you can hear me, a lot has been said. I don't know, what are your thoughts on what has been said so far?
Ndoto, pick the microphone.
It's Ndoto Africa, sorry. Ndoto,
pick the microphone.
Okay. If Ndoto is still not ready, then you can have Oyite. Oyite, if you can hear me, you have the platform now. You had raised your hand. Oyite. Very well. So if Oyite is not ready, Asita Marie, your hand is up.
I'm on. I think I'm on now.
All right. Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
I think I'm on now. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I would love to make some few response to the colleague who had just spoken, the Nigerian guy Chuko. I think Chuko is just getting sentimental, and this is what Africans are.
He's not Nigerian. He's Biafran. Oyite.
Yes, yeah, but Biafra is Nigeria unless we are talking about secession.
He doesn't want to hear that. Please, I am just giving you.
Oh, then please allow me then to respond to him. Then if he doesn't want Biafra to be in Nigeria, why is he lecturing us about the United States of Africa? If Nigeria, a small state, can't be united, and because the Biafra is purely about the tribal issues, it is not about the development agenda. This is just about the tribal issues. I think perhaps maybe one thing that we must realize about colonialism had. I want to quote. I would love to quote. There's a professor, a Nigerian professor, who at one time he said that where one thing stands, there's another one. So however much colonialism was bad, I think one thing that it gave us that Africa we are talking about. It gave us that state called Nigeria. At least that Africa was segmented with so many nation states. But now we can talk about the 54 nation states. So from the 54, we are now trying to talk about a united one state. I had a colleague who was busy talking about Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a racist. I think as an African, I don't admire Gaddafi. I would be very frank. That man had failed to unite the Arabs. At one time he wanted to join the Pan-Arab world, but after failing, that's when he came. He thought that Africans were not serious, so he would unite. Maybe one thing that we should accept, and which is the fact, is maybe we can talk about the unity of the sub-Saharan Africa, because the North Africa, the Arabs part, are more aligned to the Arab brothers in the Arab world than the black people from the from the sub-Saharan Africa. I don't know whether Chuko knows, because our biggest problem is still about the tribes, and you can really get it from my brother Chuko. Chuko will tell you he's ready to shed his blood, I think, for the Biafra. Yet Nigeria, we are thinking that Nigeria should have been the big economy, talking one language, perhaps one dream. So how are we going to succeed even as that African, which is having power, synergy, and what? Yet my brother is still talking about the Biafra, a small sub-county actually in Uganda, I would say, a small segment that may not contribute anything in the world. We're talking about unity. So for me, I would say Ganta
Oite,
must be raising a good point.
my son,
Yes, sir.
my son,
Yes,
my son,
yes, yes,
my
doctor.
son, my
Hey,
son.
yes,
You
sir.
know I know you and you are my son.
Yes,
Biafra
yes, doctor.
has a population of 120 million people. And it is a huge part of Southeast, 4 times bigger than Uganda. Please. That is all the information I can give you, my son. I know you. I know you very well, so I will not
Okay.
stop
So
you.
should
You have
should
your
should
views. But I wanted you to have
okay.
that
We,
information that Biafra has a
yes,
population of
yes.
120 million people,
Oh, may I
and
also
it is
ask you one question?
4 times bigger than Uganda.
Should should I ask you one question now? Yes, my question would be: even if Biafra is having 200 million, does it justify succession? Should they leave the bigger part of Nigeria alone? Should it
Uh,
succeed from Nigeria?
please, sir, let me answer Mr.
No,
Yite,
no,
please,
no.
so
Wait,
that we can make the argument
Chuku,
short, sir.
No,
Chuku.
Dr. Masanga,
but
I won't, I,
Wait. Let Oite. Let me educate Oite. Oite is a younger man. He's my younger man. He might
yes.
not be knowing the problems of Biafra and Nigeria. You cannot unite. For example, let me ask Oite. Can you unite
Yes.
when one foot in one toe there is a jigger which is eating you? Can you unite?
So who is that? What is destabilizing them?
It is because the North, the way the British prepared our countries. You remember, you come from the North yourself, Oite. You know
Yes.
very well that our history of the North, the Bantu, and the Nilotics have been fighting for a long time. The Fulani of the North don't like the Bantu of the South. The
That is a
Fulani
lie,
have
big
been
lie.
producing leaders,
Dr. Masanga, you
generals,
are lying.
Buhari, Abacha, all those, they come from the North. Exactly what happened to Uganda. Most of the army generals, Idi Amin, or Tito Okello, all the people, Milton Obote was the only nationalist who came and united Uganda and put Uganda as a one state. But the rest, Idi Amin and the others wanted different. They controlled the southern part, which was bigger, the Bantu area. That's exactly the problem of Nigeria
But
today.
now, should we tell Chuko? Oh, okay, if we are to ask Chuko now, Chuko is very educated and more conscious. He knows the beauty of unity. Why should Chuko, a very enlightened man, still also go back and think like Idi Amin, who is pushing on the tribal line, not the
But
nationalistic,
they have
the
asked
Pan-African line?
democratically for a referendum. Is it wrong by you as an educated man from Makerere University who knows very well that you ask for a referendum? If you are not happy with the government, you can ask for a referendum to separate. It is in the
But we
United
can.
Nations Charter.
But we can reform it. We are not looking at going back to
They
our
have tried
segmented
that.
tribe.
They have.
please, let me answer him, please, Dr. Masinga. Please, sir.
Wanda, go ahead.
Just one
But
minute, sir.
allow,
Because this
allow
is
me to summarize. Allow me to summarize,
Go
then
ahead.
you guys
Yeah,
can come in and
summarize.
listen.
Then, Chuku, hold I will give
Yes,
you some minutes later to
yes,
answer
sir.
the younger man.
Hey,
Don't harass, but educate him on a number of
yes.
things. He might not be knowing the history of Biafra.
No,
Yes.
I want to just tell you that the summary of Africa, Biafra is just like Uganda. The entire Africa was entangled in the tribal. After getting independence, from Gulf Coast, I think there's no country that really got united. Maybe apart from Tanzania. I think in Africa it was only Tanzania that has never had that kind of confusion of a tribe wanted to pull out from the bigger state. So one thing that maybe I would love to ask or to tell you guys is, The elites in Africa are the one who brought all these problems. Because when you look at in Uganda, the peasants have been united by in their cause. It was educated people like Dr. Masanga, the Chuko, the Ites, who have
When
always
you
pulled the...
say Oite, when you say elite includes you.
Yes, I said my name. I have said that the Oites. I have said that.
We
I'm very
all of
clear.
us,
Yes, we...
Oite, Ochuku, we Wanda, Professor Wanda, Dr. Wanda, everybody, we are a
Exactly.
problem, isn't it? Even in
Exactly.
Lukwago is a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So it is the elites in Africa are the biggest problem. They are the biggest parasites, not the West. The whites have their problems, but we have had Uganda now has celebrated 60 years. We have been, I think we were colonized for 50 years plus, and now we have been independent for 60 years, but we have not done much. And the elites are the one who are causing these squabbles. When Dr. Masanga and the Oites want to get something, the national cake, they go and say they are talking on behalf of their local community. Yet the man wants a salary for himself. He wants to steal. So, and that we must condemn that. That's the biggest problem Africans has. In Nigeria, you find
I
that the
think you
elites,
have,
those elites from the northern
Oite,
part, are the biggest problem.
my
Yes,
son, Oite, you
I
know
can
very well
hear you.
I've never asked for salary from anybody. You know it in my ear.
No,
I've
but
struggled
no.
all my way not to ask for
I am
salary
not,
from anybody.
Dr. Matsanga, I'm not using you as in
Yes,
person.
but
I'm talking about the elites.
now landing in a half a minute, I give you 1 minute to clear your
Hey.
thoughts back so that we can move on. We have just a few minutes left,
No,
and the
but the
satellite is
gentleman there
warning
spoke
us.
for, but Chuko had a lot of time to speak what I was not agreeing with for all those times. So
Yeah,
I
but
don't know whether that is
okay.
even...
Okay, go
Yes.
ahead. Go ahead.
What I was saying is, I want to cite you examples. We have had in Uganda during the LRA war. I was very surprised that there were very educated northerners who were busy supporting Kony from London. They were in London. There was a man called Nyekorach Matsanga. He was one of those guys who were actually
I'm
sponsoring the
here.
war. Yeah. No,
I
that
don't
guy was...
think Oite, you are speaking of somebody who is not here. I'm here. I didn't support. I
Exactly.
came and solved the war. Oite, I think you better know that one. That I went to the peace process in Rikwamba, brought
But
down, sat. Wait, you have come to
yes,
the right place. That I will explain for
exactly.
you for once, and you listen. I
Mm-hmm.
went. I was sanctioned to do a peace process. I did a peace process. So many peace negotiators had failed. For the first time, my terms of reference were very clear, Mr. Oita.
Yes,
And I
sir.
want you to listen. My terms of reference was to bring peace in northern Uganda. And I did cross all the men from eastern Equatoria to western Equatoria. So I want you to listen to that. I
I'm
didn't do it
listening.
on my own. I did it with all the authority of the Uganda government, the United Nations, the EU, the African Union, IGAD, on the auspices on table in Juba. I don't think there is anything that is hidden under the table. And the Kony was brought. I saw him 22 times. He was brought on table. He signed the five agreements. Those 5 agreements are still the ones that the government of Republic of Uganda did effectively deliver, and it has delivered its mandate. I returned 102,000 people. They got amnesty certificates, cleared, they resettled. They are in UPDF. Some are soldiers in Mogadishu. Some are guarding you today. You must be one of the generals benefiting from their services. They are no longer child soldiers. I was not a combatant, but I was a combatant with your father, Oite Ojok, in 1978, 79, 80. We removed Idi Amin. So for your sake, from today, understand that history. I was a combatant with President Museveni in the war to fight against Idi Amin. I was a member of Uganda People's Congress.
Since I'm in the right forum, can I ask you one question now concerning that?
Let me finish. You are on my
Yes.
platform, and let me finish. Because you have asked a question which you need now answers so that in the future don't repeat. I did not do this agreement. I did not tell Konyi to go to the bush. I found Konyi in the bush. Who took Konyi to the bush? You know the reasons why Konyi went to the bush.
It was with you guys, the UNLA. It was the UNLA and your group, the SPLA. The UNLA.
Okay, who killed your father? It was not me. It was the rebels in the bush. Have you ever asked who killed your father? Who shot the helicopter of your father? Have you ever sat down and asked those questions?
Yes,
so
I've
when
asked.
you come to the platform of this lecture, don't make sweeping statements. Uganda has healed. And Uganda, is there any war in Uganda anymore, Mr. Oite?
Yes, we still have. The gun is silent, but the war is still on. What are you talking about?
The war which is on is economic. If you are poor, you are poor. I am not in the government of Uganda to feed the people. Boss, I silenced the guns. The guns are over. Everybody is happy. We signed the agreement. You are happy. You even drive on Tamaka, which you never used to have in Lango. You now drive from Kampala in that big car. You know your car very well.
I don't have a car, doctor.
So, my brother, we did what we could, and we brought that peace process to an end.
But that's okay.
Now,
just one thing. Just one thing, doctor. I want to answer. I want you to answer it with this one.
You are diverting this platform.
No, I'm not diverting. I'm pointing out the weakness of the lips. I'm pointing out the weakness of the lips in Africa. Okay,
I'm going to give you time to respond.
Okay.
The question here is this. The elite of Africa, including you,
yes,
don't understand Africa itself. Why I came in to help was to talk about peace. Let's have peace. For the last 23 years, the government did not want peace. Okay? They didn't. Until I came in, they agreed to peace. Is it strange that His Excellency agreed to peace when Matanga came? You know, Bet Migombe tried. So many people tried. They failed. But when this man who is speaking to you came in, it worked out. Are you not happy that there's no more gun? I am not a policeman, Mr. Oite. I'm not a policeman to go and look for Konyi in the bushes where he went. My mandate was to find the peace and create South Sudan peacefully. And I've done that. I am a proud guy. I brought 100,000 people back home. The villages of northern Uganda are blooming. They are with good flowers. If they steal your land, don't blame me. I don't have a plot there. I have never gained anything. Even by the way, Mr. Oite, since you are a general in the army, speaking on behalf of somebody, I want to tell you, President Museveni never paid me the money. My allowances were not paid. Can you go and tell him today? Because I know I've already found out where your location is. So tell him, no, listen, tell him the $332,000 for allowances for Matanga having suffered in the bush, which you said you'll pay in 2008. You didn't. They did not give it to him. Remind him so that, and despite that, Dr. Matanga is still optimistic. Peace will last long. Uganda will grow. There will be no gun coming from northern Uganda again. But I was never paid a single coin, and my money was not paid. So it was eaten. Dr. Riak Machar is there, and Rugunda. Can you also tell Rugunda that payment, when you make promises, always pay? I never got any money from that war. But I am happy the war ended. The people of Uganda, and I'm solving so many other wars. You know very well I've been standing by the people of Zimbabwe against sanctions. I've been doing quite a lot of things. I'm doing the war on stopping a war on Eritrea and Tigray. I'm behind the scenes, you know very well. And you know very well that I am not the one who is hosting M23 where you are. You are the generals, you, including you. You are the ones hosting M23 who are in Kampala. Why don't you tell everybody that they stay there? Why do you point fingers at the people? I think Miriam has given me permission to deliver everything until you get satisfied, so that tomorrow, Oite, don't speak what you don't know. So coming back to the subject, the effects of what the Ukrainian war has brought on Africa. And by the way, Oite, I am a lecturer. And I speak for 3 hours and I'm paid 3,500 pounds per 3 hours. And
I should
speak
have
for
some.
6 hours in a week. 6 hours in a week. How much money is that in a month? Calculate.
That is good money. You're privileged there.
Yes. Because I have tools of analysis. I can teach you until you write books.
But
And by
why
the
can't?
way, thank you
Yes.
very much for having brought it so that the audience here can know that I fight for the people of Africa and for Africa. And Africa must stand. Whether you like them or you don't like them, I'm not even interested in Uganda leadership. Never. I don't want it. And never do I want to behave like I want it. Because you know where it has cost us. If you know the name that you are wearing and you are really Oite's son, you know where we came from. I was your father's PA, and he left me sadly. I'm still sad. Thank you very much. And as a result of that, you have made me cry tears and remember what I've gone through. And therefore, as a result, Miriam, we shall have the next speaker. And thank you very much, Mr. Oite.
You said I would respond.
Remember, I was your father's PA.
Before Friday?
I served him so well. I did not do anything, but ask the people who did something to him and removed his life. I'm crying tears for you. Don't point fingers elsewhere. Ask the people who are those. And if you ask them where you are, you run out and go and fall in Lake Victoria. Thank you very much, Oite.
But I thought decorum would allow me to respond.
You will respond. Thank you very much. Let's go to Oite. I will give you 2 minutes later on at the end of the. Let's move on with other people first. Ambassador, can you speak, please? And then we have Ambassador, you speak. Oite, stay on the microphone.
Yes.
We shall give you get more, and then you can speak.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. David. I'm delighted to be part of this platform. And I want to congratulate you for hosting this Twitter free space. And first, I introduce myself. I'm Ngeta John, and people just call me Abazada 254. I'm an international student from Mount Kenya University. And to stick on the motion, the Ukrainian-Russia war, to us, African actually, sometimes these people, they want us to involve ourselves in their issue. But once we come to Africa, these people, they don't come and to help us. Actually, they stay far away and they watch us struggling and fighting ourselves. And this is, to me, I see all these people, they treat us. Actually, they have to respect us, and they have to respect our cultures and what we believe in and what we do. It is not right. If you see the Ethiopian strategy, the South Sudan, how they fought, to gain their independence. No European country that was there and came in. But as you see, the President Putin, we was saying that African, let's come and support your side. Like seriously, we send our soldiers there, we involve ourselves in something that even does not concern us. Despite the fact that although we accept Russia, we have wheat from Russia which we import to is Kenya. And this actually, it has raised the inflation in our country. The food prices here are very bad. The common 190 cannot afford to pay for some basic needs. It is a result of that, and they afford so many things and things that we import, and the life here has come very hard. But on another note, I don't think we as Africans should involve ourselves in their issue, because at the end of the day, we are just helping them and we are losing nothing. I remember, and the president of France, Honorable Paul Kagame, as he said, the African leaders, they go there to speak our problem. Now you see these leaders, in the European countries, they call us to go to narrate our problem there, just to listen so that they can see how can we take advantage of that. Take the Democratic Republic of Congo, fighting, up to date. Is this what you call? Yeah. Thank you. Is this what you call the sovereignty of independent state in Africa? I don't think so. If we are really sovereign states, we should have our own mandate to do our things in our own way. The China currently has taken Zimbabwe. You walk around Zimbabwe, everything it is written in China. China, industry, China, everything is running there in Chinese. What is this? It means that we are yet to gain freedom. We are yet a sovereign state to rule ourselves. Our constitution does not defend us as African. And it is because of our leaders who have self-interests. Once they get into the power, they just measure and making agreement and foreign policy which does not favor the common 190. The policies just favor themselves, and they grab all the materials and the benefit out of those policies. Surely, is this what you call good leadership? Our leaders, they are failing us, and we are going to stand up and we are going to tell them, please, 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 can you defend your people? Don't be enticed by these Europeans. These Europeans, they don't have nothing to offer. If you see, once we are borrowing, we borrow in terms of dollars. We cannot borrow in terms of our currency. That's why you see a country like Kenya, it has a very huge debt. We are not able to pay it because the debt has kept growing year after year. And it in terms of dollars, once you pay in our own currency, you see, we demand a lot of our own currency to pay and to settle these debts. That, I don't think that's the way we have to. We should start. And these people, they have to respect our currency. And we must use it to borrow so that we can settle these debts. I don't know when are we going to be, a sovereign state and settle like any other country and have that sovereignty and have that power, to defend our currency and say that even us, once we are borrowing, we want this currency to be in terms of our currency, not in terms of dollars or in European, currency. That's very bad. These people, they are using us. We are still in the slavery. We are not free. And I wonder who else who will come up. Yet even our ancestors, they fought so much to get the independence, but I don't think this is one full independence. African, I think now it is the time. And I wish to call any other young African who is willing to liberate. In Ghana, the students themselves, they fought for the independence. And every young African, it is now our time to stand and defend our continent. Thank you so much, Dr. David Masanga.
Thank you very much, my panelists. I know I have so many hands that have come, but I want to come back to the original panelists because we have about 18 minutes or 20 minutes to finish. I will give Wanda 1 minute, 2 minutes. I will give Chuku 2 minutes. Let me see any new speaker who has not spoken. Ndoto, are you still on the queue? Mr. Ndoto? Ndoto ya Africa? Are you still on the queue? Because we have so many. I want to give Mr. Mufumura also a chance. Mr. Mufumura. Mayanja, I will give you 1 minute when I agree, when time allows. There is Engineer Mufumura. Now, let's go in this order. Wanda, Lukwago, Chuku, Engineer, no, Tama.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Now, start with Tamara and we go backwards. Then I call more people. Just 1 minute and a half to 2 minutes and I finish.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Again, thank you very much. I greet you all Africans, lovers of freedom. Doctor, just to say, you don't worry, when we have our Biafra, you will be an honorary citizen of Biafra. Sticking to the topic of today, what I can say in my own humble opinion is there is a vacuum, and I am seeing African countries not taking advantage of this Russia-Ukraine war vacuum that's created. We have now seen the vulnerability of the West, how at first the Blinken was going around Africa trying to, threaten people of, if you don't choose the right side, we will sanction you. So we have seen this, their force. And I want to reiterate what Mandela said some time ago in an interview. He said that the West cannot force South Africa to choose a friend, because when they were fighting apartheid, they knew those people that stood with them. That was why he congratulated Yasser Arafat and Gaddafi and all those people. Today now we are seeing kind of similar thing going on when it comes to our continent, because as far as I'm concerned, it's my own continent's interest I'm seeing in this war. It has nothing to do with us. We understand that the Russians played a liberating hand in helping African countries to liberate themselves. That's why today the UN vote, we are seeing what is happening. And we are seeing the pro-Western countries in Africa, the kind of votes their votes that they are tendering to as well. However, what I want to take from this war is we have now seen how we are vulnerable, and we can see how we can strengthen ourselves. This is now the time we need to encourage our leaders to take this bold step and not be afraid, because right now, if we stand in block, they cannot punish. But of course, if we do it singularly, they will punish. The other parts of the world, the Asian countries, they are aligning themselves. But I've not seen an Africa aligning ourselves whereby, we can, maybe this is the time we can have a say to give us the UN security, a seat in the UN Security Council, or how can we renegotiate some certain strategies that will benefit our continent and free ourselves from this Western bondage, and maybe perhaps we can start using our currency. However, when it now comes now to the war and what our brother said previously, Oyite, Doctor, you've already replied him by educating him. You did well on that. But my brother, I want you to understand that unfortunately, it is sad that the education we have is making us to talk this kind of way, because we don't think critical, we don't analyze things, we just see it from that sentimental and that one-way view where we have been forced from generations that we have to see things from the Western lens rather from an African lens. And this is appalling. This is affecting us. I think it is now time that Africans should stand and speak truth that that is on our own interest without shame of anybody. We know that the continent is crying for manufacturing power, and we will have that, but we must stick to it that factories, all those things that will empower our people, we must start to do it now without the fear of sanction. And Doctor, thank you again for this opportunity, and luta continua.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you, all of you. Wanda, you just land and conclude. Make your conclusion, Wanda.
Thank you so much. One, I'll stick to the topic before I either make any kind of comment. The Ukraine-Russia war and the effect it's having on Africa. Number one, we all agree that Russia is totally against Ukraine, leaning on the side of NATO. And we well know that if you talk about NATO, then you're talking about United States and our friends. And a number of these friends are generally European nations, bit of Canada and others. Now, it is true that this war will affect Africans, and it's already affecting Africa, because we can tell looking at the hiking prices and such things. Number two, I look at it as blessings in disguise. One, I mean, when Ukraine and Russia fights, when NATO fights, when NATO joins in, when they make it more of a proxy, I know it's not directly an African war, that we may be affected in terms of the economy, but it's not an African war, that we need to take it from that point. Then if we take it from that point, but we realize that it is affecting us, then it becomes a time of growing an empire, growing ourselves. I know we cannot grow just, we can't just grow from nowhere, like we have been struggling with our own issues, then from nowhere, we are okay, that we need to build from somewhere. Therefore, we need, the building from somewhere, then these are what I'll probably suggest. That one, I know we need that peace in Africa, which probably some person somewhere, either some Western nations that have always wanted to get the minerals from Africa and such things to grow their industries. Probably that's their interest to ensure that Africa is never peaceful. But now we need to understand that our strength is when we are united. I know the unity should never come blindly, because if probably you need to assess and look into the Biafra thing, before probably trying to say why are they not united, why did we have a secession, why did they come back together in 1970? Instead, we should look into why did they need that secession. Then what happened that they came back in 1970? Was it based on mutual terms? Did they agree? Or they just found themselves again together? Therefore, once we get to all this, then we can probably come to a realization that probably Biafra need to be independent, the way it was from 1967. Then in our own independence, let us now come back into the realization that we need to improve our the food security in Africa. Then how do we promote the food security? Then let's look into the regional economic blocks that we have. How do we, let us look into this block is better at this one is better at this, then we pull together and grow. As I yield my mic, I land on a point that the war could be an eye-opener to Africans. We let NATO, let all these organizations that are not African get into this war and do whatever they are doing on the other side. Yes, we are peaceful people. We don't want to see the bloodsheds. But when Congolese are fighting our own brothers, when the Tigrayans are suffering, we don't involve so much of the rest of the world. Therefore, let us not involve ourselves so much directly into this, but let us use it to open our eyes, pull together, and grow together. I yield my mic.
Thank you very much. You have done very well. Lukwago, then Chuku, then Engineer, then Mayanja. And please
Thank
take
you so
1
much.
minute each.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. Actually, I would wish to respond to my brother Chuku, to first find out why, who is behind Boko Haram. Okay, we know they are fueled by the Western power, but they are using your generals. Talk about the religious intolerance in Nigeria and how to deal with it. Okay, who are behind it? Eh? We know very well that it has disintegrated Nigeria. So you said that Russia never had any colony in Africa. Yes, simply because it is an economic mitigate. Okay, it has no funds to facilitate colonies. Okay, it tried to invade Afghanistan. You know what happened? Okay, so these countries, for them, we should accept the fact that they have the capacity. Okay, for Britain, UK, actually to let us get our independence, it was United States, and for Britain to get aid from US, that it came as a condition that you first give these countries their what? Independence. But for you to get that independence, the Marshall Aid Plan had to come in first to fight communism in Western Europe and to come up with an international trade order. That has become a problem to us, but however much it is a problem, but I think we cannot tolerate. Go to China right now. The Communist Party no longer has term limit on what? On any president. It is open. Go to Russia. Okay? When his term expires, he brings his proxy, then he comes back. That's not democracy. Okay? That's not democracy. Killing your political opponent. Okay?
Lukwago,
So, my friend,
Lukwago.
at a time, yes, Doctor.
I know where you are heading. I know where you are heading. So land the mic nicely on what you want to say. Don't beat about the bush.
So Doctor, also to my brother Chukwe, for Russia not to have colonies in Africa, at the time of the Soviet Empire, okay, Russia concentrated much on building a nuclear arsenal, okay, that together with the US gives Russia a unique position in the world. That's why somebody at one time asked me, why is it that Russia, okay, an economic mitigate, is militarily and politically strong in Europe?
It is called midget, economic midget.
Thank you so much.
I also teach English. So
thank you.
It's called an economic midget.
Okay. You now not an Englishman. They also speak my Uganda, the way I speak their English. So, Doctor, I had to grab this English so as to pass my message, but I'm not an Englishman. That's what you can pardon me.
Oh my God!
So
you have made Chuku who was annoyed laugh. So
that's the pronunciation. I'm sorry for that pronunciation.
It is called,
you know,
an economic midget. That means it is a lower type of category. It is not matched. It cannot match the super power of the United States. But when you go
mitigate,
Miriam is not very convinced with your. It is anyway, it's a Friday. We can take this laughter very seriously. Land the mind.
So, Doctor, my brother, I was explaining to him why Russia failed to have what? Colonies. It had no capacity to what? To sustain them. And that's the question we should ask. Okay, it is bombing Ukraine. It is bombing Ukraine. But will it be able to sustain Kiev just in case it takes it? No.
Okay.
You see today, it has been isolated. Even countries that had their neutrality stance, today they are what? allying with the United States of America. So
on this one, Lukwago.
Yes, Doctor.
His Excellency, President Museveni.
Yes.
You are why are you not talking loudly?
Doctor, come again. I've not heard you. I lost you. What are you saying, Doctor? Doctor.
I am saying,
Doctor,
on this one,
yeah,
you agree with His Excellency President Museveni on the question of Russia and the Ukraine, because his stand is that we are not part and parcel of this war, which I also, Matanga, agree with him, that we have just been brought in and it is not our war. So he told our ambassador in the United Nations to run away, Maurice, run away.
But Doctor,
yes.
Doctor, what is perturbing me? Just recently,
why don't you
a Ukrainian
answer my question first? Do you agree?
I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him because I know the fact that United States and UK, they are the backbone of his overstay in what? In power.
You have now changed the subject.
They are the backbone, and he's hobnobbing with them behind curtains. A Ukrainian plane is just from Entebbe here.
Oh my God!
Okay.
Lukwago, land the microphone now. We want Chuku to say something. Then we go to engineer.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I like my brother Chukwe to first deal with the religious intolerance in Nigeria.
Okay.
And the Nigerian is general.
Yes.
The Western power using to fuel the Boko Haram things.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
On that one now, Lukwago, you are coming to my international scene. That's why I've told you, when you come to this platform, leave the Ugandan things alone. Come my way. And you see now you are coming nicer. And you are talking about a very key important thing. Why are we talking about Russia when there is Boko Haram killing people in northern Nigeria? Chuku, why do you think Boko Haram is killing people? And you are not talking about the killings. Why are you not talking? Are those not human beings? So you explain to the audience. And that is why I tell Lukwago every time, stay away. Don't be like Oite, who doesn't even know where the left is the right. And Lukwago, you know who that Oite is. Don't you think so? So, I think I've put him in the right place today. So thank you very much, Chuko.
Thank you very much, Dr. Matsanga, for your wisdom. I want to use this opportunity to thank all our listeners today, those that are present here, and greet all Africans. And Dr. Matsanga, for your wonderful work, the awareness you're trying to create. I say, may Chukwu Kabiama continue to bless you. You see, the question Mr. Lukwago asked about Boko Haram, I'm going to say this word, one word. We have a president that was a spokesman for Boko Haram, that was a negotiator for Boko Haram. So I don't know how to explain the rest. So when you have a president that aligned with Boko Haram, and when you have a West that have interest that when a house is burning, they can continue looting, then the problem of Boko Haram will not stop. And now I want to go a little backward, to the topic that we've debated a bit here, so that I can at least one way or the other give awareness, because after listening, I find out the biggest problem young Africans have is not being aware, the ignorance of the past history. What happened? What transpired? Why are we in this dilemma? I live here in the Western world, where you have a small country like Luxembourg with a population less than 3 million. They have country. You have Liechtenstein with a population less than 5 million. They have country. Even Belgium, that is like 11 million, is a country. Even what do you call them? Many of them, countless of European countries that are less than 10 million, they are country. Why did Europe design their continent like that way? Because they find out that the only way they can have peace, Europe was worse than Africa, the way we are now, before. They find out that the only way you have peace is when you have a nation on tribal lines, because brothers cannot fight themselves. If I'm speaking the same language with you, it is more easy to solve problem when we have it. Most of young Africans don't know how Africans was before these colonial masters came and draw new boundaries for us. My country, Biafra, that I'm fighting for, have been existing for 5,000 years. It was a civilization that was destroyed by the Western world. And that is a fact that most African youth does not know. So, and we believe, please, the co-host, can you put your microphone on stump while I'm talking, please? Miss Ogutu, please, can you off your microphone? Dr. David, can you put everybody on stump? Can you mute everybody and free it again? Because your co-host is disturbing while I'm talking. Dr. Matinga?
Yes, medium.
Can you please mute everybody, because Miss Ogutu microphone is on and I don't think my message is coming through.
I've removed the microphone.
I'm just getting a kind of disturbance. Thanks very much. I think now is a bit better. I keep getting a voice in my background, but I will continue. Hopefully our members are not disturbed from it. What I'm trying to say here, please, is for the fact that we don't have enough awareness for our youth. Most African youth does not understand what happened to us before. Somebody said here, Mr. Lukwago said here, that Russia could not have colony because Russia is poor. This is a wrong message, Mr. Lukwago. Russia is not poor. Russia, I live in Europe. Russia is a very rich country with very big gas and oil reserves. Europe is surviving, and Europe is having problem right now because Russia is closing their gas. Russia does not buy this idea of living on other people's wealth. That is the difference between the Russia theory and the Western theory. Most Africans should learn to listen less to this Western media, what they are preaching, because most of our listeners here, from their voices, I could just understand that they listen to too much CNN and BBC. Somebody trying to tell you that Russia, that is a world superpower, that have weapons that even the West does not have, that Americans does not have, cannot be able to hold on to Ukraine if it was their target. This is miseducation. We have to be careful what we consume. If Russia have interest to have colonies in Africa, they would have done it. Don't forget, it was Russia that stopped Hitler, and not the West. It was the Red Armies. It was the Red Armies that invaded the USSR, that invaded Germany. It was the Red Armies that invaded Germany, and not the Western Allies. The Red Army came to Berlin bunker first before any other person. So they know exactly what happened to Hitler. So in order to round up, I will beg Dr. Masinga to take out a time to host a program where I will be
I'm going to do that.
To give more awareness, to our people. Because why I'm saying this, most of the youth does not know what people like Dr. Masinga went through in the hands of this colonial masters. With this systematic divide and rule system they brought in Africa. We have a tribe like Yoruba tribe, and you have Yoruba people living in Togo and in Benin, and they don't have something in common, but they must have something in common with somebody coming from the other parts of Nigeria. Africa had peace when our boundaries were drawn according to the tribal lines. and African leaders were trading among each other. They are not trying to tell us that our heroes are devil. Dr. Masinga, let me just say this last word.
Land the
I will land just now. The West are trying to tell us that our heroes are devil. You have somebody like Robert Mugabe. They tell us he's a devil. The last president of Tanzania, Joseph Magufuli, he said something. A man that is hungry cannot negotiate a good deal. My advice to young Africans and some African leaders that might be listening here through other mechanisms. When your people are hungry, you are forced to negotiate with these people and accept every deal. Take the part of former Tanzanian president. Feed your people. Make sure that you grow enough food for young Africans so that they will be able to understand whatever policies you are trying to introduce to them without listening to the Western people telling them how you rule your country. Because I see that some African leaders, they really have vision. But since I've understood how these politics work, that if you don't dance to the tone of this world order, this Western powers, they will make your government, they will make rubbish out of it and turn you to a demon. The biggest example, Robert Mugabe used to be their darling until he remembered that they are using him to destroy Zimbabwe. The day he decided to give the power and the land back to Africans, he became their enemy. I'm going to use the mic by saying this. There is a saying, Biafra is the light that was taken out of Africa. And the day Africans understood that holding the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, even though after the courts have discharged him, and without conducting referendum that Biafra become a nation, Africa will remain in darkness. From the day Biafra become a nation, a restored nation, back to its days, Africa will get back the light that was taken back from him. Because if you check, Biafrans are industrious people. We are building industry wherever we are. So, and this advantage we have is what we want to give to our brothers in Africa. And this is what the West don't want. That is why the former British Prime Minister made this statement during the Biafran War. We cannot support the independence of Biafra because we don't know what this African country will be. They will be more bigger than Japan and they will become more competitive than Japan towards us. Africans should wake up. Africans should try and support the independent Biafran nation. Because with independence of Biafran nation, there will be peace and stability in Africa. Check any country in Africa, go to every village, you will see a Biafran person, a victim of displacement, a victim of genocide that is being committed by terrorist Nigerian government, of which nobody is telling you in your local media. I yield my mic. May Chukwu Kabiama bless you all. Thank you very much, Dr. Masinga. Thank you all listeners for being part of the show. Thank you.
Okay, don't go away. I have special thanks for you. And I will be bringing the subject of Biafra in the next show. So you gather as many people as possible to be on this platform, Chuku, to discuss that subject. Okay, let me listen to Engineer 1 minute. Engineer, you have the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Doctor. I would like to say something. There is, when we talk about Russia war, we all know the root cause of Ukraine and Russia war. The NATO's and Americans trying to put down Russia. But let's talk about how it affects Africa. How it affects Africa, because we get crude oil from those countries. So when there is a war, there is the menace that is hindering the transportation, and also the production of that.
We have lost you. In Guinea, we have lost. Yes, you go on. Make your point.
I feel like every youth tries to be a politician. Every youth tries to be a president. Everyone tries to sit on that. Everyone wants to bring his opinions or her opinions, but this is Africa. We don't have enough resources. All we have to do is easy. Like we are cattle keepers. We grow crops. We have cash crops. We have, I think, the best quality materials when it comes to farming. But why can't we look forward?
Are you from Uganda?
I started from Uganda.
Yeah, but you are from where?
I'm from Rwanda.
Okay.
I started from Tare. I started from Tare. I think my high school. I started from Tare and
you are
school.
The OB. In Tare,
yeah.
OB is the school of His Excellency, the President of Uganda. So it was
Rwanda,
one of the best schools.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there is one thing. We are supposed to look forward to developing ourselves. How? We have cash crops. Let's grow them. We ask the government to help us to look for markets abroad, and the governments, I'm sure they can do that. Let's look forward to like milk. We can produce milk. After producing it, we kind of like we there is a way we can make it last longer. We export it elsewhere because I think we have the best quality milk. We have the best quality skins of cows, of goats. We can ask loans from the banks. The banks are there for us. They are not for the government. They can come and they invest in us. We build industries. We manufacture many things from those skins and we export them to Europe or West, whatever we can say, or Arabs, whatever. But we don't do that. All we do is complaining about all we do is complaining about the poor governance. Or we talk about, now imagine like you see someone is against Museveni. Yeah, Museveni is not holy, but he has done maybe constructed roads. I've seen that. But now instead of there are some who have done their businesses. They have constructed their own houses for economic stuff. You understand? And all of a sudden, since you're against Museveni, you're destroying the roads, tarmac roads that were built on credit. You're destroying people's buildings that most of them they're also still having loans from the banks to construct them. And what does it take us? Where does it take us? It takes us back. Below. And these youths are bringing commotion. Here in Rwanda, they give you many opportunities. What do you want to do? I can do this. Go and get a loan from the bank. They diminish. They minimize the credit, like the interest rate, so that you can get the credit. Many people are opening their eyes. They are doing their own business.
In Guinea, I think your network from Kigali, where you are, your network
because
is not
we are not going to study and wait for the government job. You understand?
Okay.
And
in Guinea, we want to listen
here
to you.
are working on their own. and they are earning a lot of money, and all paying taxes, which those taxes are helping us to construct more roads, to do to improve on infrastructure. Maybe because yes, please. I'm listening, sir. So every youth who has no job builds his own job, money from that job, little or more. But they have seen that collar jobs are doing them nothing, and working for people is not helping them. So they work hard to make a living, to survive, and many people are not complaining. Only the lazy ones are complaining. The banks are here. All I'm trying to say, the banks are here in Africa, not for the governments. They're for us. If we have a project, let's combine like as like many people, like we look forward to building something good, something big that can help us financially, all of us and the government inclusive, instead of complaining about poor governance, whatever. Poor governance, yes, sometimes it hinders us, but if it can do about it, what can we do to help ourselves? It's not going to work.
Okay.
It's not.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Thank
It's
you very
looking
much.
for a solution to work hard. And please, we young guys, I'm seeing like we are believing in Western tabloids. They are helping us in no way, and in fact, they are feeding us some poor.
We lost. Lukwago, are you there? Lukwago.
Yes, Doctor, I'm there.
We lost engineer. Engineer, you went off.
He has a network problem per se.
Yes, Mayanja. Lukwago,
Yes,
hold the fire there. Let Mayanja pass. 1 minute.
Right, Doctor, thank you. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I'll not even take a minute. I've been listening to the conversation, very interesting. The issue to deal with Russia and Ukraine and why does it affect Africa? I personally, I was one of those staunch people who always blamed the West this, the West that, the West this. But I want everyone who is on this space to go back and sit down and look into themselves as individuals and look at ourselves as Africans. Like, if I wanted a billion reasons as to why the West is responsible for the problems of Africa, I can give you a billion reasons. But to change the current conundrum that we are in as Africa, as the continent, we need to look into ourselves as well. Now, some people will say the leaders we choose and so on and so forth. Yes, you're right. But who chooses those leaders? Now, some people will argue that, oh, the elections are not free and fair. Now, what brings about that particular situation? Those are issues that we have to discuss to the core. If you want to change the continent, it will not change. It will not start from the leadership top, as in presidents and all these other people. It will start from the ground, down at the village. That's where everything has to start from. And then, if you sort down if you sort out the foundation, then you'll be able to sort out the leadership. But if you want to sort out things from the top and then look at the bottom later, you're going to fail. And that's the same conundrum we have been in for centuries. The reason as to why these countries have managed to achieve superpower status, the likes of China, Japan, India, that's the model they used. To this day, they stopped complaining about other people and being like, oh, we are being subjugated, we are doing, cry all the time. And they went back and looked into themselves. That's how they
Are you saying, Mayanja, are you saying we write a lot of books of lamentation?
Yeah, it is too much lamentation. And it is really draining all the time. You will hear conversations, oh, the West this, the West that. Yes, I do understand. Those are reasons that we have discussed for centuries. The so-called leaders, those are. But at the some extent, I want you to think about, if you cannot change the mind of someone down there in Port Harcourt in Nigeria, their mindset, someone in Zero in Masaka, or someone in Kenya in Embakasi Estate, for them to care about the position of Kenya or the position of Africa on the global stage, then literally these problems are going to keep coming back. A very good example is the current president of Kenya, Mr. President William Ruto. William Ruto, he was really tough on China. But now he is sitting in the seat. He sees that things are completely different. And now he has to backtrack on most of the promises that he was saying. Leadership is a completely different thing than we see it, in one way or the other. But lastly, I would just like to make 2 points. The reason as to why I stopped blaming the West is because of 2 reasons. Number one, to understand all the principles of international relations, geopolitics, and all that kind of stuff. If you can read and sit down and understand how international relations work, then you can be able to find solutions to the problems that Africa is facing whenever international crises arise. For example, today, if a world war actually happened on the continent, what would be the position of the continent? Those are things that we're supposed to look at. But then the other last thing I wanted to say is that, you see, there is these people, I think Brother Chuko also mentioned it, whereby they are saying, oh, the only solution to Africa is that we have to unite. But he's the same brother that is saying that Biafra has to split from Nigeria. So I don't understand. Now, you'll find people who are Pan-African, who are not clear on what... who are actually not clear.
Mayanja, we have run out of time.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
We'll go to your point, and let's meet later on this evening at 9:15 for a bigger showdown on Africa with Kennedy Wandera. And I believe Lukwago and myself and other people. Zulu, 1 minute. Zulu, then unit. Tama, have you spoken?
Yes, I've spoken, Doctor.
David, did you speak?
I've spoken, Doctor. Yeah, I've spoken.
Okay.
I have spoken.
Thank you, my brother. Because you have been one of my ardent followers for many years. So,
thank you, Doctor. Thank you
United States of Africa. Then I wanted Zulus to speak for 1 minute. Zulu from South Africa or Zimbabwe. Then United States of America. That's it. Then I come and make a summary. We go home. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You have the microphone.
Good day to everyone, or evening. It is very wrong for the first people of the planet to take a back seat and allow other people to decide what social arrangements and how resources are used on the planet. Right now, the white man is at the helm of controlling everything in the world, and we are just fitting in. So we need to take back a vision and say we are going to be in charge of Africa and its resources and its direction. Until we do that, white people will entangle us in all types of their nonsense, their wars. They are always fighting. They are always about taking over and accumulating power more and more. They are never enough. They never have enough. So until we decide to organize ourselves, educate ourselves, and try to own our resources, even if we are not able to use them in the meantime, but hold on to them so that they don't create a mess for us like they've created in Europe, where the water and the air everything is messed up. Now they are messing up here. Here in Joburg, they've left mountains of earth that they've dug out of the ground. Joburg is a mess, and we are celebrating that. So we need to take control and say we want a future for our children. We want to employ our children ourselves. They need to have access to these God-given resources and not allow people who are greedy, who are about greed and profit, to control the world, because this is why we have the mess we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have been, I wish I had allowed you much earlier. You are very straightforward to the point. We have a mess with the new world order. Let's have United States of Lukwago. You are attacking my daughter. What has my daughter done?
Doctor, actually, as you were summarizing, I would wish
I want you, Mr. United States of Africa, wait. You are attacking my daughter. What has my daughter done?
No, I was like letting you know that she supports Mr. Muhoz, because I happened to
But
to face her.
Is Mohozi not a Ugandan?
Okay, doctor, let me ask my question and I round it up.
No, I am asking one thing. Urukwago, don't run away from this. Mohozi is a Ugandan. My daughter is also a Ugandan. Why don't you
I was
leave
letting,
her? No,
I was letting you know that she supports him. She supports him.
Lukwago, please, my children, I produced them. They have a right to choose where they want to go. Now, Lukwago, don't victimize my daughter.
I'm not
still alive,
victimizing
and I'm
her.
not going to allow this for you to victimize my daughter when I'm still on planet Earth. No.
But doctor, you actually you tagged me while you're talking about somebody.
I didn't tag you and tell you that. I told you who was behind that tweet, but not my daughter. Now you have brought in the name of my daughter. You have lost the plot. The person who was talking there is the other person you know. So my daughter is free to join anywhere. Mohozi is a Ugandan.
Yes, and supporting Mohozi is not a crime, doctor.
Yes, and when he decides to come out for elections, we shall campaign. All of us Ugandans sit on the platform. We hammer each other with policies, and let Ugandans choose.
But he has no people to talk for him. Even himself cannot talk.
No. Everybody has people. You will be surprised. So don't attack my daughter. Give my daughter freedom.
Doctor, they have no words to market their candidate. They have no words.
Want to take it
a mere squeezing them, they can run away. I've never interacted with many of them.
I have to protect my daughter when I'm still alive.
Okay.
Yes.
Doctor, as we are going to summarize, I wanted to ask you this question. Yes, I wanted to ask you this question. What led to the collapse of Soviet Union? Because my brother Chukwe said that Russia is economically strong. But doctor, yes, today the world is a global village. I've never lived in Germany, and I don't know whether I will go there. But as I was interacting with somebody like you at your level, we talked about why Russia, okay, is militarily and politically strong, yet it is an economic what? Lightweight. Let me use it because the other word I don't know how to use it.
A dwarf.
Let me use lightweight.
No, the word midget means dwarf.
Midget. Yeah.
A dwarf.
So doctor, he told me
economically dwarfed.
Yeah.
In good English.
Thank you so much, doctor. I've learned from you. Asante sana. So, doctor, the gentleman told me that if France and Germany combine their military spending, okay, it can be 50% higher than Russian military spending. And Mr. Chukwe, you talking about Russia being an important supplier of gas and oil. Russia has no monopoly on gas. Qatar is there. It has gas. Uganda has gas. That's why you are seeing those Europeans are trying to stop Mr. Museveni from drilling that oil because he gave a certain percentage to China. Yet they are fighting China, Russian what? Dominance. So, France and Germany joining their military spending because for them, previously they focused more on economic union than defense what? Union. Okay. So if they come together, those two they can deal with the Russian threat. I rest my case, doctor. Thank you so much.
Lukwago, I am like a speaker of National Assembly. So my role here is to moderate the debate. And I think I will bring you a good topic on this exploitation of Africa by Africans with Africans of African origin. Is that a topic already? Lukwago, have you heard what I've said?
Yes. We need to dissect it to doctor.
Yes, exploitation of Africa by Africans of African origin. Can we discuss that next time?
Asante sana.
Yes, thank you very much. And I always like you whenever I find you on the platform, because you remind me of a friend I was with in campus who exactly talks exactly like you. So thank you very much. Mr. United States of Africa, please, you be our last speaker and be brief to the point. Then I'll do a small takeaway for the students who are watching, listening some points from here, and who want to take back some lessons they have learned from this topic this afternoon. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. David Masanga. I'm grateful for the opportunity that you have given me to be your last speaker. I'm totally honored to be part of this great, free, and free-minded discussion, debate, and everything that you are doing. I totally allowed all to you. I totally feel honored to be part of this discussion today. So I'll try to be as brief as possible, and I hope that I'll try to change a view or two to the people who are watching and to the society in general. First of all, I'd like to say about this war that is going on. In the global wars that has happened in the world, it's always had an impact to African nationalities, African countries, African interest, African investments, African monies, African wealth, and everything. All African is totally affected by everything that's happening globally. The reason being, we are the number one, we are the Eden of the earth, we are the green island, we are the green countries, we are the total producers of all economic, all everything that happens in the world. 90% of green, every economic activity has a trail line from Africa. So I'm totally honored to be part from this part of the country, very, very much. This part of the world, I'm totally honored to be a part of this. And I hope you too should be also honored to have come from Africa. Now, aside from that, you should be proud to be born African, because after all the exploitation, we are still the number one top developing countries in the world. We have seen what the United States have done. We have seen what the European countries have done. We have seen the Ukraine, the Russia, the Chinese, and everything they have done. But it's our to be our best. Only an independent-minded person who stands for a continental country, a global superpower by the name of the United States of Africa, is with the following 10 reasons, and I hope you take into consideration what I say. First of all, I am not above 30 years old, I am below 25, and I've come up with this concept to unite all Africans regardless of countries, race, religion, and anything else that might set us apart from each other. So, number one is religion. First of all, there are two major religions in Africa that were not there for like 60 years ago. They were not anywhere from in Africa. So I'd like this to take it serious. One is the Islamic religion, and the second one is the Christianity religion. All of these can be related from 70 years to 100 years before. They were not there. They were brought to Africa, and they have brought the biggest divide. They have brought the biggest rift between Africans, Africans fighting Africans because of this big drift. One came from the east and one came from the west. So we are initially, and before, we were not into these religions. They came and they divided our people. We have people calling themselves the Muslim, and we have others calling themselves the Christian. This is what has made and led to the rest of the major economic problems to our society as an African. The second thing is the borders. First of all, I would like to let everyone who is listening to this discussion that I am Kenyan. Kenya has opened its borders to all African nationalities. We have opened our borders because We believe if we open the borders for everybody in Africa and the rest of Africa replicates the same and opens all their borders, then Africa will be free to interact amongst itself. We live in an Africa today where each country is trying to outshine the other country, while the West are not doing the same, while the East are not doing the same. As you can see,
Okay.
China is just give me a moment. Just give me a moment, please.
Land the mic.
Just give me a moment.
Yes. Wind up, wind up. We're about to finish. I gave you that last chance. You have 1 minute, sir.
I have 1 minute. So what
Yes,
I would really emphasize to the people who are listening to this discussion is that we need to join hands, because nobody is talking about Africa united. The West are trying to divide us, to fight amongst ourselves. They are funding the Trigger War. The East is funding the Trigger War, Ethiopia, because Egypt has an interest on the Nile River, which starts from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and they are funding a war. They have been funding wars in Africa. They funded the war in Libya, was funded by the West. Africans have been doing genocide country after country. We are being funded by the West to fight amongst ourselves. There have been discussions all over the world, especially outside Africa, about how to depopularize Africa to make it weaken. Nobody's talking about this. You're not talking about this. Why are you not talking about this? They are working hard. They are taking scholars like you, giving them aids and giving them citizenship in their countries in order to weaken Africa. No rich scholar, no top-minded scholar, all the A-level students are out of Africa. I am myself speaking at this point, I am out of Africa. You know why? Because they are weakening our systems. We cannot have resources. We cannot have A-level minds in our countries to enrich our systems. We have weak people back at home. We have weak people who cannot think unless they are told to think. We have the people who can think are the ones who are doing activism outside Africa, because we are afraid if you speak in your country, you're going to be traumatized, you're going to be criticized, you're going to be criminalized for speaking about your continent. Why are you
United States of Africa follow each other, and I am following you back. I think you have very good points. I want to invite you back again so that on my platform on Monday, you can bring those ideas. Don't miss the show on Monday at 9:15. You will enjoy. Yes, you will enjoy so much. Yes.
Yeah, I am grateful, and I want everyone
You have very bright ideas. I want to tell you, brother, keep those ideas. I like the torch, the African torch that is shining like you. And I want to thank Mr. Sylvester Ganta. Thank you very much. I am following you. You also follow me. I know you have been listening today. Our discussion, you can see it is very good. We are not saying we should go and fight anybody.
We are not going to fight anybody. We are not going to fight anybody.
We are just exchanging our views. Yeah. And Mr. Sylvia Ganta, I'm requesting you to come and have the last word as we close this. I've said, can you pick up my request so that you can give us your last word? Because you might think that we are discriminative. We are not. Unfortunately, yourself, you went away and ran away very fast. Thank you very much. Yes, my brother, land in the mic. United States of America, of Africa.
I'm still online, right? Thank you.
Land in the mic now.
I give the mic. All right.
You lie as you yield the mic. Make your last parting or your parting shot.
Okay, I'd like people to tap on my profile. To tap on my profile, there's a link. There's a link in description. There's a website that we are hosting about joining Africans together, collecting data on how we can develop a free, fair African economy, a free African country, a free African global superpower. The Africans will never be poor. Africans will never go hungry. Africa will never depend on the West or the East. We shall be dependent on our produce because Africa has enough resources to feed its own, educate its own, and nourish and flourish on its own. And by the way, I'm 20 years old and I'm hoping to be the first president of Africa. And this will be my initiative for the next 50 years.
Allah. Okay. Thank you very much. Dreams
so you will see me around for her. You'll see the movement, you'll see the
they said
movement.
dreams are what? Dreams are very valid, and I want to encourage you to go on. One day it could turn into a real vision, and then you become the president of Africa. So don't
It's a
give
reality.
up.
It's a reality that should dawn on you before
You
you
said
actually.
you come from Kenya.
Yes, sir.
And which part of the world are you?
Currently, I'm in the richest part of the world. The smallest but the richest country, which is Qatar.
That is Britain.
Qatar. Britain is not the richest country in the world. Britain is not the richest country in the world.
Oh, you are in Qatar, which milks Africa through Total Oil. Thank you.
Listen. I want to clarify about Total Oil.
Yes.
You've touched a very big point. Total Oil does not milk Africa. Africans sell Africans through Total Oil. If you can see the people associated with Total, the Africans are the multi-billionaires of Africa, as the rest of Africa does not gain anything. For example, if you're Nigerian and you're listening to this discussion, you can say that what I'm saying is true.
Okay.
You are Nigerians
right. You are 100%. Thank you very much. Let's have our last speaker this evening or this afternoon. And as we go, yourselves in 19 minutes past where I am in United Kingdom. And it looks like it is 19 minutes past 2 o'clock in East Africa, and the same time in West Africa, and the people in the States are just waking up. If we stay on this line, they are going to come here like a flood of River Nile. So let's run away before they wake up. Thank you very much, Mr. Last Speaker, Achek.
It is Jarma. I am Jarma. Jarma Sheikh, yeah, exactly. I am a Francophone and Arabic speakers. I just want to say you congratulations. I'm not good at all in English, but I listened to you a while, and congratulations, and all this brings ideas, and thank you so much for what you did. Thank you.
Oh, I wish I had very many people saying that very much. Hussein, Hussein A. Yusuf. But it is today we have not had the voice of a woman at all. Hussein, can you speak now? I hope you also give me some congratulations. Hussein, the microphone is yours.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My brothers from Africa, everywhere where you are. I'm Somali, as you see, but I'm living with Mazungo in Europe. So I learned this word from Ugandans. I have been in Kampala many years ago, so I visited in Chiambogo University, and that's why I learned. I was with the white. So
which part of
every time they say
part of Europe are you?
Sorry.
Which part of Europe are you?
I mean, not Europe. I mean, Norway. So
Norway.
Yes. I
Oslo.
just wanna.
Oslo.
Yeah, in Oslo. I try to ask to answer these questions shortly. I try to properly to So the Russian and Ukraine war, yes, I agree. It's a proxy war. It's a proxy war for American, and American use the NATO and the European, and have nothing to do because their economy and their business is doing with the Russian. But I don't know how they use American use it, the European, and give them this area to flow as a chip. I don't know. That's my question. I confront here in Norway many politicians and ask why you going everywhere the American goes. So it's something I don't understand why. Because yeah, I understand, but I'm making some. I'm not understanding because I know they flow in their interests. And why? The second question is why is that affecting Africa? Because we have no leaders. African, we have gangs, we have thieves, we have not good communication, good relation between the African's country, Northern country. Everywhere is conflict. And who is it that? The colonization. They make us every two country side by side. They making conflict, and that's why they taking our resource, and we come after them, and they saying we have many Africans in asylum. Yes, you will have many Africans as long as you working our countries and you doing so treating so bad our countries. And the American, why the American? The first question, why the American going with the Russian? Because the proxy war is they try to do the exercise of tomorrow. Tomorrow they want to fight with the Chinese. The Chinese is bigger economy in the world, and that's why they want to down the Russian before it's coming the Chinese war. And already then started. The Chinese war started economically. It's a big fight between the American and the Chinese in the market. And all the Africa, you've seen everywhere in the Chinese, but something is good for Chinese and something is bad. You have both. So I just quickly.
Thank you very much. You've made your point. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Yes.
But you have made very cardinal point. My last speaker, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
For Hussein. Keep it going. I want to ask people on this platform to like each other, to tag each other, so that when tag me, tag everybody. Every time I'm on the platform, you'll know and you'll join.
Yes, I follow with many of our colleagues, Africa.
Thank you very much, Hussein. And thank you very much from Norway. This program is always there on Friday at this time. There's a new topic that will be circulating. So if you tag me, you'll know the topic. And then you'll join and prepare yourself how you are going to talk. I don't know, Fidel Castro from where now? Mr. Fidel Castro, you have from Biafra. Just 1 minute. Since you are my brother from Biafra, I will not switch you off. I was going to make closing remarks, and Fidel Castro, you come in now to. You have come in now to making. Okay. Have you gone? You have gone, yes. So thank you very much, Hussein. Thank you, all of you. Hussein was our last speaker on this platform. I want to thank Mr. Sylvanus Ganta, who was one of the last the speakers from America who sympathized with Africa, but he was actually challenged by several of you on this platform. Listeners, this is a takeaway. And the studios in Nairobi Kenya, please hold this takeaway now. Studios in Nairobi, are you ready? Studios in Nairobi, are you ready? I want to make a takeaway.
Can I add? Can I talk on behalf of Kenyans in Nairobi?
Who is that?
This is the United States of Africa representing Nairobi.
Okay, I make takeaway. Maybe are we ready now, my co-host? Are you ready for a takeaway?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I understand why. Don't worry. It is recorded. It can be taken from the recording. So, Mr. United States of Africa, I will give you. I will speak. Then you join quickly. Make your points the way the speed I'm going to speak, so that it is recorded. They will take it from the recording. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let me speak. The war between Russia and Ukraine has taken a new twist. The new twist is it has brought in new partners who are forcefully being dragged into a proxy war. It has never been our war. Africa is several miles away from Ukraine, from Russia. Africa depends on its own resources. It has its own wars. Each country in Africa has got a problem of its own, different in making, different in fashion, and different in format. What then makes us be attached to a war that we have no clue about? What makes us even get involved in a war? Is it because we are coerced? Is it because we have been told, coerced to go into a war and told to join a war that we don't know about? The human rights abuses are plenty in Africa. As we speak, Ethiopia, Tigray, DRC Congo, Somalia, Libya, they are all burning. Nobody has come up to solve this war, especially the one in Somalia, that has been raging since 1991. So what does it help us as Africans to be dragged into a war, to be told to vote in the United Nations General Assembly that you must vote with us or you must vote this direction? Yet we don't even know. There are many millions of Africans who don't know what the capital city of Ukraine is. On the few of us who have read geography and who are still well traveled, know where the capital city is and what the name is. So why should Africa be a battlefield of ideas which are not ours? It then begs the question, the sense of belonging, the sense of unity of purpose. Had Africa had a unity of purpose, we would not be where we are today. We would not be forced. We would not be told to go and vote in a certain direction, that unless you vote in a certain direction, then you will not be given X, or you will not give given a hospital, a road. I want you to remove China. I will pay you money to take away China. Or China, I want you to remove United States of America. I will pay you money. Isn't it time for us, Africa, and as Africans to think again and find our level of unity of purpose. Mwalimu Julius Nyerere once said, the worst mistake that we shall make is we Africans with smaller tribes, or to allow Europe with smaller tribes to be united than we who have the resources to be disunited. I think he was right. Each African country wants to go on its own with its own people. But have they served the purpose? For 66 years, since Ghana got independence, we are still the same Africa. We look at each other the same way. We fight wars that are not ours. Therefore, this war is a proxy war. Why has it affected Africa? Because Africa is not united. The sooner Africa unites, forms its own basis of argument, a single argument, seek a space, forms its own African Security Council that can also say, we don't want wars, but we want economic distribution equitably of goods, resources, our diamonds, our minerals, our coltan, the better for Africa. As we speak now, there is a coup again in Chad, in Ofing. Someone has poisoned the two sons of Idris, and they are at each other. People are dying as we speak in Gemena in Chad. Is this the Africa we want? Why have we been affected by a war? Someone said something on this platform that is still hurting my heart. That we are begging food from Ukraine, which is at war, and we are busy praying in Africa. The whole Africa is praying. Ukraine is at war, and then still we are talking about food from Ukraine, fertilizer from Ukraine, wheat from Ukraine. Surely, are we the same people, or we are different? Let's keep the conversation going, and let me bring in United States of Africa. Just to add a word there, the way I have added in 1 minute or 30 seconds. United States of America, microphone is yours. Conclude for me.
Thank you, Mr. David. I would like to conclude with the following brief few words of remarks. It is a shame to be an African in the 20th century where a country which is currently at war miles far away is donating food to our African countries. It is a shame to be included in a war that has no values, no benefits, no interest, no political gain, no economic gain to our people, to our children, to our education systems, to our industries, and to our mentality as Africans as well, and in general to the future of Africa. I'd like to make a clear statement that Africa has no interest in war. We have development issues that we need to fight for. We have a lot of potential together united as one rather than divided as states that were made by post-colonial rulers. We are strong as a people with no boundaries, no forces against each other, no kingdoms in within, no races fighting each other that we are the better or we are the mightier, but as a force united as one. And all that unites us as one, and before you should check the color of his skin and see that this person look like me before I am attacking this person. Why is the other person who does not look like me tell me that the person who looks like me is bad? Why should I listen to a person who does not look like me physically, mentally, or in ideology? Differentiate my thinking, my theories, my everything, my upbringing that I have been brought up to through the African core values of foundation, through the stress and the hunger and the pain of post-colonial that has affected us in great abundance, leaving us to be poor, destabilized states. As my parting shot comes, I call on all African countries to join hands and join a resistance that has no war, that has no guns, but has brains, unity, and love for each other as African for Africa. Africa for Africa. We can invest in our future and be a bigger superpower economy that will
Thank
feed
you.
its nation in general.
Th-
Thank you very much, Mr. David.
Thank you very much. I can see a lady has come in as a last. Madam Organic, I know you, Organic Health Club Hub. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Good day,
Now,
sir.
because you have come in as a mother, let me finally just give you 1 minute to say what you want to say. And close it, please. Don't be too long.
Okay. I would like to say that it's sad that it's like we are seen as this football being kicked around by different world powers, if it's either India or China or the West or Europe, it's like everybody wants their own. They are not done with the pieces of cake that Africa is to them, and I think that at some point when this whole thing started, there were Africans who were willing to fight on the side of Ukraine. But I heard something very odd, apart from the racist comments that were coming from the media in Europe about, not allowing black people to get out of Ukraine as with other, Ukrainians. Apart
30
from that,
seconds.
okay, apart from that, um, Africans who wanted to go and fight on their side were asked to pay money to be able to travel. And I thought that was just an insult and a slap on the face. And, it made me realize that, and then they were talking about how we're importing food from there. And I'm wondering why. What is wrong with our own food that we grow here? So I think the average African should, be more African, like your own food, like what grows on your own land, instead of always craving for things from the West, from everywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Madam,
Thank you, sir.
unfortunately, our satellite airtime is off. We want to come next time you come early enough as a mother and you give us the good motherly words. Just yield the mic with one word. Can you yield the mic with one word?
Just one word.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's embrace peace and not allow ourselves to be dragged into things that would not benefit us in any way. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Punchline Africa Television, thank you very much. I want to thank you for having been here for 3 hours. The numbers that you have shown on the platform going in and out, those listening Remember, those who are on top here are not the ones listening. There are some listening without coming in on the platform. Thank you very much. This video will be circulated to you. It will be on this platform. You can always play it with other people. And I want to thank you to contribute. I want to thank my daughter, Adela, that as long as I'm here, I will always defend you. Daddy will always stand by you all the time. Thank you very much, Adela. I want to thank also Lukwago, that as long as I'm around, my daughter cannot be molested. What about if I'm gone? What are you going to do to my daughter? Lukwago, are you still there? I want to thank you, Hussein. I want to thank Chuku. I want to thank all my speakers this morning. Mr. Damara Ashek, Jamara Ashek, you have said some good words. I always stand by Africa. I will not let Africa bleed when I'm saying. I can see B. Bash, my man. I have always seen you. We meet in several platforms. I am the same person. I remain the same person. I don't speak because I've been paid by any international agency to speak. I have never taken any single coin of an NGO. I am an African.
Doctor, not from Mazungas?
No.
We know many journalists by Mazungas.
No. You know very well.
Very,
I am the
very
only
common.
one. You remember the man who opposed the ICC?
Who?
It is me.
Yeah.
This is the Ugandan lawyer you hear about who opposed the International Criminal Court up to today. And I defeated them. Do you remember the man who stood by Mugabe? It is me. You see that? This is the guy who said, when they said Mugabe was bad, I said he was good. Now they like Zimbabwe.
African like you. We need
Yes.
good leaders in Africa. We need
So
Africa each other.
I was even threatened to be killed by people because I was supporting President Mugabe of Zimbabwe for having given land to his people. I am a proud guy, African. Therefore, I stand by Dr. Julius Nyerere's principles. I stand by his principles of unity of purpose for Africa. The best that you can do for Africa is give Africa unity. We cannot fight a proxy war we don't know. We cannot be found in the middle. And most of the presidents on the African continent, they think I talk, they don't listen to me. They are going to follow victims very shortly. If you don't refuse this thing and run like a Murithe, run like a Murithe. You remember Murithe of South Africa who kept on running? So run and go away. Don't be boxed in a box that support this a war. Let someone explain to you why support this war. Thank you very much. On behalf of Punchline Africa, the East Africa, the whole East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, the whole Africa, West Africa, Tripoli, South Africa, Harare. God bless you all. God bless everybody. On behalf of Europe and across the continent of Africa. This is Africa. Punchline Africa Television. Together with Twitter Space and Mr. Lukwago. What is your problem again? Lukwago?
Doctor, I wanted to ask you, because I recall very well when Bush was coming up with that idea of terrorism. Whoever is not with us is an enemy. And many African leaders found themselves embracing the fight against terrorism. And Mr. Museveni will benefit a lot.
That is another topic. And
how are they going to survive? How are they going to survive this bill? United States is coming out with.
My daughter will answer you.
Doctor.
And I will answer you on your tweet, your Twitter handle. I will answer you now. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Don't drink and drive. Don't be violent. Always preach peace, 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 peace for Africa. Thank you.